Boys,
Yo.
Yippee-ki-yay.
yippee-ki-yay. We were at the bar Saturday watching the game, and some woman walked up to me and was like, "Hey, I just saw Die Hard," and I was like, it didn't. I had a whole conversation with her about the Die Hard trilogy. I was like, "Well, you should really see Die Hard 3." And, I had this whole conversation with her, didn't realize I had the fucking hat on. I was like, what is she talking about?
Oh, I thought she thought your dad was Bruce Willis.
See? Right? Anyways, shout out to...
What were the final trade parts for that hat?
Well, Macon was never going to wear it.
Right.
So it ended up in my hand.
Okay.
He did me a solid and was like, I'm never going to wear the hat. How's everybody doing? What's up? What's going on, chat?
I'm doing so good.
Oh, Beau's doing good. Beau, why don't you start the show by telling people where you've been?
Happy MLK Day.
Happy MLK Day for sure. But then that's going to remind me of what else is going on today. And I don't feel like alienating half of our fucking listenership, evidently.
Smart. That's very smart.
But it's still fucked up.
Happy MLK Day, facts. That's a dope ass.
Happy
fact.
MLK Day indeed.
Appreciate it.
Love MLK.
Really, what size is that? Let me try that thing out, man. That thing's slick.
Might have one. I don't know.
Yeah, I think don't you have one in that closet there, yours, Beau?
So we got a happy MLK Day out now. Tell us where you've been, Beau.
Well, Chris, I was all over this weekend. I'm doing a show with Kelce up in Philly. So I was up in Philly on Friday for Kelce's show, which is pure chaos. It's a lot of fun, though.
Yeah, you had your butt cheeks out like Mike Concho.
Dude, I actually had no idea Kelce was going to put that on there. And all of a sudden, I'm like up in this little balcony looking down, and Kelce got my bare ass on the screen from like some joke meme I sent him like 5 years ago. Jesus, you really took that photo and weaponized it and just saved it for the perfect opportunity.
All over ESPN. It's crazy.
All over ESPN. Thankfully, it was at like 1 a.m. at night, so my mom wasn't watching. She was in bed, but I looked my ass looked pretty fat. So,
Oh my god.
I'll take it. I think that's all right.
You don't think
You
so?
can go look that up on your own.
Oh fuck no.
You get really uneasy when people talk, about like, no one thinks you're into Beau's ass. You can just be like, haha. You know what I'm saying?
You can laugh at that.
But if I don't feel that way, why do I have to be like, haha?
But no, Beau's ass was out on the Kelce show and everything.
Yeah, it's cool. Go check that out. Then woke up, flew to Kansas City where it was freezing cold, but got to hang out, pretend I was part of the Monday night countdown crew with Kels, which was cool, and check out the divisional game with the Chiefs and the Texans as a fan. And that was a lot of fun. It was cold as hell on the sideline. I was shivering. I did not pack well. All my warm coats are up in Minnesota. It was a good time. Then went up in the box with everyone at that game and felt really cool. Watched the Chiefs win. Travis had a nice catch. Pretty good game overall. That was fun. Flew back to Philly that night. Checked out the Birds in Philly. Did a little tailgate sesh with Aiden and Ralph. Smoked a cigarette. Did some bench press reps.
You spat a cig too, dude. That was smooth.
Dude,
Looked like
I
Popeye.
lit that dart up and was like benching at this awesome tailgate in I think it was M-Lot. And then I was like probably like 15, 20 reps in. I was so lightheaded. I was like, I've made a huge mistake.
Yeah, breathing with the stick in your, you know what I mean?
Like
you gotta bite it.
that's a vet move. When someone lights a cigarette up and they like smoke it all in one inhale, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like that's what I felt like. I smoked
Well, because if you're ever gonna do anything with like a joint in your mouth or like a cigarette in your mouth, you have to bite the cigarette so that you can open your mouth and breathe through your mouth. If you try to like put the joint in your mouth and paddle down the river, as I might do sometimes, you gotta bite the stick.
What Beau is saying in Wet Willie's in Miami, there's like a homeless guy that like walks to get tips and he entertains people. And one of his tricks is like he literally he hits a cigarette and smokes it in one pull.
That's what I felt like, dude. It's hard. My lungs were burning. I'm not built like that, man. But
You're evidently not built like that. You didn't set the record. I was a little disappointed.
Dude, my pecs are kind of sore today.
So they got this whole tailgate for the people that are listening and maybe not knowing what he's talking about. They have like a literal bench, and they've been keeping a tally of like who's got the record amount of reps of what 135.
135, yeah.
And obviously dudes are just slammed at that tailgate Sunday after Sunday, and then they get former Eagles legend Beau Allen comes through with his big pecs. And they were handicapping you at probably like, what, 50, 60 reps? Would you end up within 40s?
It was 60.
60?
I don't know.
60?
Yeah. It might have been 52. Let's call it 52. LII. That's a good number, Chris.
There's no way you don't know how many reps you got, but we'll keep going.
Dude, I was fucking in the spin zone, man. I had the dart. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, you won just by doing it.
I got up and I was like, where the fuck am I? It was like the Mr. Krabs meme.
You won just by doing it. He really won just by being there. But can we back up? Because you tried to gloss over the whole, the cool people in the box thing. You called me.
Unique viewing experience of a football game in my life, Chris.
Yeah, you called me and were like, hey, I'm going to go to the Kansas City game. Kels wants me to go out there and, I'll be sitting. I was like, wait a second. So you're going to be, and he's like, yep. He goes, Kelce already gave me a whole speech. Don't misbehave. Don't bother Taylor Swift.
Bro.
Don't fuck this up.
Kels called me up and the tone was like, it's like when your dad calls you when you get in trouble for something and he doesn't know how to get into it. You know what I mean? Like Kels calls me up. He's like, so
my dad always just got into it.
He's like, you're coming to this game. Like, don't make me regret this. Yes, sir. But,
the poll is, can I beat the rep record at the tailgate? No chance. Benching ain't my thing.
52% of the people think you can.
I know 52%
52%
of the people are wrong about a lot of things if you haven't noticed in this fucking chat. So, case in point. But Beau, did you meet Taylor Swift?
I did.
What were the impressions?
She's cool, man. She led with a compliment.
No.
And I was like,
she liked your jacket.
Your hair.
Wrong.
She liked your jacket.
She said that I
saw your fat ass on Kelsey's show. It was awesome.
No, she said I was funny and that she respected my commitment to like making a joke or getting a laugh or something like that. God damn, you got me all
wait, what joke did you lead with?
That he was dolled up like a drag queen the first show.
I'm pretty sure. I think that's what she was referring to.
Oh, okay, got it.
I was just like, oh wow, I really wasn't expecting a compliment out of you. Like, thank you. Like,
that's incredible. That puts all my compliments to shame
right now.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, exactly.
But Caitlin Clark was in the suite, which is the whole thing. And like, did you do any legwork to get her on Greenlight? Because I said, don't worry about Taylor Swift. Kelce didn't say don't embarrass me around Caitlin Clark. He said, don't embarrass me around Taylor Swift. So did you talk to Caitlin and did you ask her if she can come on the show?
I talked to her. She, she's a little busy to come on the show. I'm still working on that. But after Karlaftis' third sack, I made a joke to her. I was like, you might be the best Big Ten athlete in this building right now. It was funny.
She didn't think it was funny?
I don't know if she got it or like there's a lot going on in there, man. Like someone had a speaker and was playing music. Like, I don't know. There was a really unique viewing experience. But then her boyfriend laughed really hard. So
that's good. Maybe he manages the bookings.
Maybe I'll talk to him. I was chopping up with him for a while. He's a good dude. I think he coaches basketball at Iowa or something.
Okay.
He played there.
Yeah, had a good time, man.
Well, that's awesome. It feels like they just put you in a metal tube and took you around the country.
Well, and Beau, what you came out of that game with a new piece of clothing, right?
Yes, I got a sick piece of swag. I'm gonna save that and debut it for the show on Friday with Kels. But I complimented Travis on his jacket. He just fucking gave it to me, so it's pretty slick.
Oh, you got Travis's jacket.
Yeah, and honestly, I was like, I don't think it's gonna fit me. And Taylor was like, yeah, it'll definitely fit. Put it on. And he's like, if it fits you, you can have it. I'm never gonna wear it again. And I was like, all right. And I put it on and it fit. And I was kind of disappointed because I was like, I used to be a big fucking boy, and now I'm wearing the same clothes as him.
Well, he's a little taller now. So he rolled up to the stadium in that. What?
He's a fucking meathead. Yo.
He rolled up to the stadium in his like best fit, and then you take the best fit home. That's what happened.
Bro, someone's got to keep me looking fresh.
So Kelce
right?
wears clothes to the stadium. That's how these guys do. When they look cool, they wear clothes to the stadium and they never wear them again.
Not Mac Hollins.
Because I'll tell you what, I was wearing normal shit.
Mac doesn't-
Yeah, hey,
gonna wear the
when you leave, you like post game showers. Do you wear the same stuff that you wore into the game?
Usually, unless it's uncomfortable, or if you're on the road and
Yeah,
sometimes on the way
depends.
back they'll let you wear like a
home or away
zip
game.
up.
Yeah.
But it's got to be everybody's got to be in the same zip up because we're all adults.
If you lose, put that damn suit on and shut up and get on the bus.
We're gonna check your room at 11 o'clock, even though you have the biggest game of your life tomorrow. I'm gonna bang on your door just to make sure you're in your room like you're a fucking kid, and then you're gonna have to wear like the same thing as everybody else on the plane. I don't care how uncomfortable it is. We got a dress code on the plane. It really is stupid.
Have you ever missed like room check or anything like that throughout your career?
I don't think so. I was always in my room. I was always an early to bed guy, to the point where I was pissed that
When they knock on the door,
because
you gotta
I'm
get
asleep.
Up. Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I feel you.
Anyways, Beau, what a weekend, dude. I really enjoyed the.
I'm a little sleepy, and also Chris, I was laughing because I stayed last night. I had an early flight this morning back to Tampa, and I stayed at the Hilton Marriott at the hotel in Philly where we used to
Back
stay
where we
at.
used to stay.
Yeah, so I was just like wandering through those halls, like walking down memory lane.
It's not as cool without your
know.
teammates in there, huh?
It's not as cool, and it's just straight up not a good. It's not a very nice hotel.
It's a hotel inside of an airport.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really
I
not the
mean,
best.
but it was fun because I had the Bills Ravens game on, and we used to watch college football on Saturday night when we were
In the
staying
ballroom.
there. So I was like, yeah, a little nostalgia factor. We used to eat that ice cream with Dougie P,
Yeah.
hang out with the boys.
I remember.
Sounds like you should have took some airborne before you're traveling, man.
Dude, I am absolutely fucking like
That stuff
I've
doesn't
sneezed.
work.
Yes, it does.
You think it does?
I honestly
Emergency, dude. Those emergency
do.
packages.
Or
You know how we do the
all
fuck
that.
counter
For real.
There's
on the
things that
show?
work better.
Yeah.
We need to do
Probably.
a sneeze counter because I've sneezed
All right.
literally 300 times today.
Okay.
It's so bad.
All right,
his
when I
dude.
called you earlier, I said, "Hey, Beau," and then you just goes,
Yeah, I'm like I'm a dramatic sneezer too. It was
He wants everybody to say bless you.
yeah.
Oh,
Do it for the attention, you know.
Well, congratulations on your big weekend.
Thanks. And I just want to say for everyone in the chat and everyone out there, like Chris was invited to the Eagles game, and it was an absolute cinematic experience and it was the Eagles against the Rams in Philly, snow game, and Chris didn't go. So that's actually my worst seat is Chris watching that
best
game
seat, bro. Best seat.
from the house.
I was,
You could have
you
been
know,
chilling with your boy. At the
well, then maybe you shouldn't have
Actually,
made me go to the game last week. You know, I
that
just
game
don't
was
do
fun too,
multiple in a row. I need bye weeks. I have 3 kids. I'm tired. I spent half the week on the Amtrak going to and from Philly. Remember we landed back from Philly on Monday morning feeling all shitty, had to do the show, then did a live show Monday night, and then Tuesday morning I had to wake up and I was scrambling to get to the train and didn't get home till Thursday, basically.
Yeah, it's
So
a young man's game, Chris.
yeah,
You got to rest up for the Super Bowl, bro.
I'm like
You gotta
Kelce
make
without the big
content.
paychecks. I'm everywhere, but you just don't see me.
I'm
You see
like
what I'm
Kelce
saying?
without any paychecks. I just get paid in jackets.
Yeah, I'll take it though. You could probably eBay that off for pretty good money, honestly.
Dude, my sister, I sent her a photo, the one that you guys put up earlier, and she's like, "That's now a family heirloom. We'll pass that down amongst generations." I'm like, fucking chill, all right? Like,
Well, maybe we go to the NFC Championship. We'll see. I got all of my Washington friends who it feels like all my friends being from where I'm from and going to school where I went to school, like they're all Commanders fans. In fact, there were like 4 of them. Shout out to Keith and Bernie who were in Detroit at that game. It was very brave to go to a game like that in Commanders gear. And those guys are already talking cash shit about Sunday. So why don't we just get into the games? Shall we? And you know, it was suggested that we work backwards. And I think of all the moments this weekend that you felt something, like obviously if you're an Eagles fan, you felt my Bevel Conway is Saquon Barkley. That shot, I quote tweeted it last night late. It reminded me of the Bryce Harper, the shot of Bryce Harper hitting that home run.
Oh yeah,
in the postseason, and
Feels.
the way it was raining out, and it was like the elements. It was just very Philly, and I love it when they take the broadcast out and they go with like a field level view, and you just hear the crowd. I got chills watching that Bryce Harper thing, and I don't even like baseball like that. Watching Saquon take off, and everybody knows it was like as soon as he gets a full head of steam against his Rams team, it's 60 yards. The field level view of it and hearing the crowd, to me, I got chills. I mean, I got chills. And listen, I love the Eagles. I love watching the Eagles and everything, but I'm not like some fanatic like a lot of people listening. Like, don't make that mistake. I still do this job, and I got to analyze every team in the NFL. Like, but that made me feel like a fan, dude. It was crazy watching that video with the snow, the whole thing. That's what NFL football feels like at field level. If you can get a chance, go to my Twitter, look at the tweet that I quote tweeted, and watch Saquon Barkley. Unless you're a Rams fan, watch Saquon Barkley take off down the alley and listen. It reminded me. No, the one in the snow late in the game.
Oh, okay.
It reminded me of the NFC Championship game that we played in against Minnesota. I'm not in every. They say that's the loudest they heard the stadium was our NFC Championship game. It had to be close for that Saquon run. It was. I got chills just thinking about it. Yeah. And since it's not NFL footage, can we show it here?
Let's throw it up.
Throw it up?
Really?
It up. Okay, throw it up.
Find out.
Let me get my trophies out of the shot, though. I don't want to get like a. I don't want to get a stern talking to by the head of NFL rule following. Can we throw this up? Here we go. With sound.
That's fucking pretty, man.
There are the chills again.
I love how he's hitting himself too. God.
There go the chills again.
I love that celebration too. Like,
bro, just run it again.
Finishing a race.
And I know there's a lot of Eagles fans watching this podcast, but if you're an NFL fan, this is a thing of fucking beauty. Yeah. This guy, as he's running down the field, I don't know if it's running through his head, but everything he's been through in his career, the excellence that's been just sitting on the shelf.
Right.
There's no chance they win that game without him.
Mm-hmm.
There's no chance. There's a chance they don't win the game last week without him.
Yeah.
100%.
His value is incredible, and the home run threat that he provides changes the game for the Eagles. That made me feel something. That made me feel a totally different kind of thing. The way the Ravens,
need that, Chris. You need to feel something, man.
I know I do. The way the Ravens game ended, you act like I'm some nihilist. I just have a dopamine issues. Too much Zen.
Yeah.
You believe in nothing.
Too many dog walkers. But the way that the Baltimore game ended, and I was on the Bills, and hey, listen, as an analyst, I felt good about the outcome of the game last night because it echoed a lot of things we've talked about this year with that team and with the quarterback that won. But the way that game ended was heartbreaking. I've never felt so empty watching money go into my account. Honestly. I mean, I'm not even being funny or talking about gambling. I'm just telling you, like, I was sitting there and I couldn't even celebrate the way the game ended. Bless you, Beau. Watching Mark Andrews, I mean, the shot of him on the sideline as Buffalo went on that 5-minute drive to make it an 8-point game and kick, which was the right call. Mark Andrews on the sideline, it was excruciating after that fumble, knowing that, like, hey, am I going to get another shot at this thing? And to know that he got his shot in the corner of the end zone by the pylon, and they go to him, they go right back to him, and he drops the ball. I cannot understate when you watch professional athletes. A lot of people say I would trade my situation for Mark Andrews' situation. And I would have said that. I would have said, waking up yesterday, I would have traded my career for Mark Andrews' career. Not anymore. And I'm not trying to be a dickhead. What I'm saying is this is the harsh reality of putting your life's work on display in front of millions of people every time you take the field. Your dream can turn into a nightmare in an instance, and you'll wish you were never there at all. And I'm not trying to overstate the mental toll of being a professional athlete. The reality is there will not be a day. There will be very few days the rest of his life that he won't think about this play. Unless he's wired totally differently. I relived mistakes that I made in my career that were nowhere near as consequential. Opportunity cost type things. Just like, man, if that had happened, I beat myself up over my career. Now, he's had an amazing career, and maybe they get back there. I think they do. I think they'll be right back there next year because we'll talk about the quarterback in a second. I think he's fantastic. But that is going to torment him for the rest of his life, and that is the cost of being – that's the flip side of the coin. And there's nothing that can undo that. No amount of money, no amount of Pro Bowls, no amount of – that guy's life changed last night in an instant. I'm not trying to be over dramatic about it. And as a player sitting on the couch, I was fucking gutted for the guy. I was gutted for the guy. And I was gutted for Lamar, who quite honestly showed as much class and accountability after a loss as I've seen any quarterback show after a playoff game. The stakes of that loss. Last year when Patrick Mahomes ran up to Josh Allen or during the regular season and was pissed about the call and was incensed because of his competitive fire, people were like, I don't like the way he's acting. Now, listen, we got a group chat. I'm not going to name who it was. He's a guy I love. He's not in this room. But last night after the game, he's like, I don't know if Lamar smiling after the game is a great look. I felt the complete opposite about that. When Lamar ran out to shake his hand, I was blown away by his grace and his humility and his ability in his worst moment to smile. And I know that was intentional by him. And it showed Josh a lot of respect. I think it also spoke to the respect that both of them have. When you heard Lamar's comments leading up to the game, this was life or death for him, as close as it could be to the NFL, metaphorically speaking. And it ends on a drop, and he has multiple mistakes in the first half, and he played fantastic in the second half, but that loss fucking hurt. And for him to go out there to midfield and smile on his face, greet Josh, show humility, I don't want to hear a bad thing about Lamar, the person or the teammate or the leader or the human being. He's as accountable and fucking stand-up as anybody in the league, and he's damn close to one of the best players on the planet. For different stretches, he looks like it. It hasn't been the case in the postseason. Now, he played really well in the second half, but, I listened to Get Up this morning. I'm sorry I'm ranting, Beau, but this morning I turned on Get Up, and I'm watching the panel do this thing where, is it Lamar's fault? Well, no, it's not Lamar's fault, but he certainly shares in the blame. And, when 10 points off turnovers affect the game the way it affected the script of that game, it definitely factors in. Now, everybody's going to remember the Mark Andrews issue at the pylon. But I think we can certainly walk out of this game just on a macro level and say those are two amazing quarterbacks, two of the best players on the planet. And guess what? There's a lot of the greatest quarterbacks that ever played that don't have a fucking ring. And I'm not saying that's Lamar's fate, but I don't watch Lamar and say the moment's too big for him. The moment was not too big for him at the end of the game. It's not that kind of thing. With the Ravens, all the mundane moments are too big for them. And that's been the story with them. You talk about playing the AFC and how hard it is, the murderer's row of quarterbacks. And this isn't a hit job on the Ravens. This is just to illustrate that it's really not about beating the quarterbacks. It's about them beating themselves. These are the passing totals in the games that they've lost in the playoffs. 2019 Divisional Round, Ryan Tannehill, 88 yards. 2024 Divisional Round, Josh Allen, 127 yards. 22 wild card, Burrow, 209 yards. 2018 wild card, Rivers, 160 yards. 2020 Divisional, Allen, 206 yards. 2023 Mahomes, last year in the championship, 240 yards. These aren't shootouts that he's losing to quarterbacks. These are games that the Ravens are losing to themselves and the other team at times. But same story this year. Turnovers and not being able to consistently run the ball all game. And so we can boil it down to the quarterbacks. Everybody shares in some blame in this game. But ultimately, you can't absolve Lamar for his part, as bad as we want him to be the guy. I think he's the guy. I think he's going to have another chance. I think he'll be back there. I love Lamar. But he didn't get it done on the big stage, and this team, more than anything, has failed to get it done. And so, excuse me for ranting, but it's just like the narratives left and right this morning already. And it's like everybody's got their confirmation bias. Let's just keep it a buck and say these two guys are fucking incredible. But Josh has been on another level in the postseason. And yesterday he didn't have to be. And that's been the case with a lot of these losses for the Ravens.
Well, and it speaks, their embrace after the game speaks to the brotherhood in the NFL that you guys have. Like, if I can't make it, this guy's going to make it, and it's going to be awesome for the league. Like, I'm glad that I was beaten by a guy of his caliber kind of thing, and he can be happy for him. It was cool to see.
And it was a good competitive game, and, like, Lamar, like, smiling. It's one of those things where it's just, like, even as a competitor, like, you're going to lose sometime, and it's just like, we almost had it. Like, this was a good game. I know that last pass, if he'd have caught it, it would have been a different scenario to the ending of the game, whether they would have won or lost. So I just feel like, guys, like, when you play games, and some people always say they rather get blown out than lose a close game, and that might be true, but at the same time, like, you want to play close, intense games like that and be able to win. But, like, if you do lose, like, I feel like if you feel like you left it all out there as a competitor, you feel good.
No question. They left it out there. I mean, they competed. The Bills competed their asses off. You talk about, like, we should be talking about the Bills and their ability. You look at this defense, you're like, like, they've got some good players, but they play big in big games. Sean has something in these big games. And I think today it was just like, hey, I don't know if the Ravens were ready for the attacking style of the Bills in the elements, down Zay Flowers, knowing, hey, like, we're going to take a little from this bucket where we're not going to worry as much, even though safety play is bad and, inconsistent. We're not going to worry about him beating us this way as much. We're going to be downhill, and we're going to make it hell for Derrick Henry. It's going to be a bunch of fucking bodies in there. It's going to be like a car accident.
Yep.
I mean, it's just going to be people rolling around and shit. And I thought in the first matchup you didn't have that push, because once the 87-yarder hit at the beginning of the game, the trap, it was like, let's play this game outside the numbers and pepper you with Derrick Henry. This game, it was like, we all know what this game's going to come down to, and the backers who did not play in that first game played downhill. The tackles played really well. Epinesa set an edge, and it felt like everything they were doing was like, we're going to set heavy edges. We're not going to set these wide edges that create lanes where it's like, okay, I did my job. Now the backers got to fill. It was like, let's set this edge as tight to the line of scrimmage as possible, make them bounce things, and see if they can just commit to the run game for 85 yards.
And I want to give my game ball, and I want to say first that I was maybe one of the guys that was feeding into, hey, when Damar Hamlin, that whole situation, when he came back, everyone was kind of like, oh, is he good enough? They're just keeping him on the team because of what happened with him, and it's PR stuff. And here we go. He leads the team with 8 tackles, 2 TFLs. The sack that he had, end up with a sack, and the sack that he had.
It's a huge play.
Huge play, causes a fumble.
Tough tackle.
Causes a fumble.
Yeah.
And he leads his team with the tackles for the game. And like you said, like, all the tackles weren't pretty. Like, no one tackles Derrick Henry pretty. And, like, he was running downhill.
Yeah.
He got ran over a few times.
Yeah.
But you're like, he's small, like, and you have to put your body in there. And like you just said, all the guys on defense, they were doing that, and a conscious effort just as a whole of going at the ball and trying to punch the ball
To
out.
be where he's been, and I'm talking about unconscious for a night, like they had to put him on ice.
Yes.
Like, it was life and death.
Yes.
He's putting his head on Derrick Henry's thigh board in a playoff game.
Unreal. Shout out to the Guardian cap. Everyone, it's funny looking, but for guys who have had head injuries, and that realistically your career after one major head injury, you're one more away from maybe never playing again.
Yeah.
The fact that we have something now that can maybe help that situation out, we made fun of it, but I'm all for it.
No, yeah, if you want to wear it. And listen, Hamlin had some bad plays, and nobody expects him to be a world beater. Like, we talk about the safety position for them being a bit of a problem, including Rapp, who at times is not a world beater. But let's go back to the turnovers from Lamar, just because it helps tell the story of the game. I thought the biggest, just in the first half, because the first half decided the game. You clawed your way out of a hole that you to be honest, you shouldn't have to. And that's what the game came down to. You can say, hey, the moment wasn't too big for Lamar at the end, and I agree. It went 90 yards in 3 minutes or whatever it was to basically tie the game. Now, Bills fans will tell you a minute and a half left for Josh Allen.
Oh, yeah.
I feel pretty good about them having an opportunity to win that game.
Absolutely.
But I'll say this. The biggest moment in the game for Josh, who didn't have to do a ton, right? They scored 27 points with one explosive pass. So that tells you a lot. Like, that tells you that, like, and we should be crediting Josh for this, because in the past we said Josh did not know where he was in the game. That's what we used to say. I just wish he had like a little fucking a voice in his ear that would tell him, hey, Josh, you got the lead. Or, Josh, we're just going to run the ball on these guys. You don't need to take that chance.
That voice spoke to him when he
it's
almost
Joe
pitched
Brady.
it.
No.
When he almost pitched it,
Bullshit.
there was that like inner voice, and then
He wanted to pitch
Bullshit.
it.
His arms were
wanted
pinned
to
against his body. He would have pitched that ball, and it would have been a touchdown. But in general, what we're talking about is like watching the Denver game where there's a shot to be had, and maybe it's 50-50, and he thinks in his head it's 70-30, and it's not. Well, he's going to take the check down. And in a game like this, like, let's not turn the ball over. And that was one of those instances where, it might have been fortunate. The biggest instance in this game for me where he actually had to make a play was 3rd and long, first possession. Ravens walk the ball down the field for 7. You punt the ball to the Ravens, there's a chance they go on a drive and go up 14-0. He hits Shakir right over Stevens' head. That's a brilliant play. 4th and 2, they run quarterback power behind Dawkins, right? Yep. And then we go. And we tie the football game, and we're in phase again. And I also think as much as people want to make a big deal about Lamar's turnovers, and they weren't great. Now, he was very accountable on this thing. The fumble is an RPO, and I think a lot of people watching at the time don't realize that he can't throw the ball in his head because he's got a lineman downfield. So tuck it. Just tuck it, take the sack, live to fight another day. You might be able to get points. Okay, that's one. You know what preceded that was an Andrews drop. How ominous is that? Okay,
I know.
Now the interception, which he took full accountability for, he's trying to look off the safety. Depending on how he throws that ball, it's a successful look off. They're in single high. At that point, Rasul Douglas is inside leverage on Bateman, who's running a flag. He should be running a flag towards the sideline. And that's where Lamar can put the ball away from the safety on the sideline, but he didn't. It was like he thought he was going to break vertical, but that's not the right read. Okay, so either way, the turnovers suck. But I'll say this, where the game really came down to something that people didn't realize was the end of the first half. Okay? The Ravens had an opportunity after the Bateman play where Hamlin didn't get enough depth, and now he's on the goal line, and they're at the 2-yard line. You end up, I think, with a TFL. Then you end up taking a sack, and I'm not going to put that all on Lamar. I'm going to put it on Todd Monken too because nobody's open. Okay, maybe he had, and then 3rd down, the same thing. It's just nobody's open, and he has to dump it to Henry. So at the end of the half, and we always talk about middle 8, in a game where they could tie it at 14, instead they kick the football and make it 10. The Bills then drive down the field, and they finish with Josh, on 3rd and 2 into the end zone. So you talk about the turnovers, but you also talk about the end of the game. If we're going to be criticizing the Ravens in key moments, you also have to look at their red zone trip at the end of the first half. And so that writes the script for the entire second half.
Another moment in there is, I don't know if it was, I think it's early in the first, Lamar puts a pass on Derrick Henry that he drops on the sideline that realistically potentially.
Did he put it on him?
Well, he didn't put it on it, but
they scored on that drive. They scored on that drive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I went back. It's spinning around in my head too.
Yeah.
But even if you were to say, hey, that could be 6, and it was a tough throw, but if it's out in front of him, it might be. It's behind him. They probably knock him down at the 25 or the 30. There were guys running full speed. He has to slow down to catch the ball. I get it, but I just want to say they did score on that drive.
Okay. Well, then.
I'll
give you some grace because I was going to say Derrick Henry, he dropped 2 passes yesterday. He doesn't get past the ball a lot. It's just like catch the rock because the other pass that they dropped, I don't know if they end up kicking a field goal or maybe they scored on that too. But they were in the red zone.
Well, and who knows? If we want to be nitpicky, hey, Josh missed a go ball to Mac Hollins. The first play of the game. Lamar missed a ball to Likely in that 2-minute trip that might have had more time on the clock, so maybe they played defense. But the bottom line is Lamar in the second half played good enough to win. The drops killed him, the fumble killed him, and the Andrews fumble, to me, that's a situation. The shame of it is, that's 2 games now that they lost because the turnovers ended 2-point play. Pittsburgh, Okay, down there, they weren't ready. They had a fucked up thing where Aguilar and Likely are fighting over who's the point guy, and they can't get in the end zone on a 2-point conversion. They got Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, and you suck in the low red and on 2-point conversions. Like that's sacrilege.
Yeah.
So for me, it's those plays. And I think on top of it, Justice Hill probably could have got. This might have been a game where Justice Hill could have got more burn.
He was balling out, and man, I respect the hustle and just the wherewithal, like of him trying to rip that ball back from Vaughn. And like honestly, I thought he was going to maybe get it, or at least
was crazy.
At least jar it.
I was
loose.
like, put it away.
Yeah, at least jar it loose. But the speed. When the difference of like how Von Miller was running, and he looked like he had like a good enough head start that it would be a touchdown, but Justice Hill, like the speed that and the angle that he took to make that tackle was absolutely incredible.
He probably could have gotten a little bit more work. It felt like a game where they were very ready for Henry, and like I don't know if this was a product of the way that the Bills were playing it, but we didn't see quarterback run.
Yep.
And you know, for me, I would have rather have seen Lamar running with the football than Derrick Henry. I had a picture in my head of that first game and that long run to start the game off. Like that's what you couldn't see. So I think, you know, Sean McDermott did a great job. I think the Bills took the ball away, but the Ravens also gave them the ball.
Yeah.
And so like if you'd have come out of this game like that first Pittsburgh game, you said, oh, you had a Herbig punch out, you had the play of the year, the Peyton Turner, what's his name? I can't get his fucking Wilson. Peyton Wilson arm bars the interception. Like these are takeaways. The forced fumble on fucking Andrews was an incredible defensive play.
Yeah,
unreal. But
it affected the play later in the game. I guarantee it.
No, it absolutely did. But it's one of those things that I just feel like their D coordinator, their defense, and their coach, it's just an emphasis. You can see like almost every single play when they're making tackles in that game that they were trying to get at the ball. When Milano had that big play coming back where he like tattooed someone into the ground on a third down, you see everyone celebrating, and the coach, the first thing he goes to him, the coach looks like he's mad. He's like, because he's like,
get the ball.
He's like, yo, you could have punched it out.
Yeah.
Like you were coming, he didn't see you about to make that tackle.
Mm-hmm.
So just knowing that, like knowing that they have that emphasis and like how important it is to try to force turnovers in the playoffs and get your offense some extra possessions. It was their defense, the small defense. They were out there hitting and doing what they need to do, making up for lack of size. If people think that's a big deal,
listen. Look, just to close this thing out on this game, Lamar did everything he could have in the second half to get him back, and quite honestly, he was robbed of an opportunity. We were robbed of another minute and a half of great football, but it ain't like last year where after the Chiefs beat the Bills, you could blame it all on the kicker.
Yeah.
You know, after the Chiefs beat the Bills and I defended Josh Allen, I just want to see if the Venn diagram has crossover on the people that criticized Josh Allen last year and we're trying to absolve Lamar, who I love. And here are the people that I dislike. The people that say Lamar is never going to be back, that he's trash, that he's a choke artist, that he's not elite. You're all crazy, okay? The people that say he doesn't bear any responsibility for this loss, you're being apologist because you're married to a take. He's going to win the MVP. I can almost guarantee you that. But to me, the reason when I said Josh Allen was the MVP this year, and eventually you just hey, you got it if you win. The postseason matters to me, and until you prove otherwise, Josh Allen has been one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL in the postseason, and so value for a regular season award probably shouldn't creep into the postseason conversation, but it's impossible for me. Mm-hmm. And Josh didn't have to be postseason Josh yesterday, which is the most impressive thing in the world for me.
Yeah,
because we know he can do it, but he took what they gave him, and he didn't turn the ball over. And to me, that's why he's the most valuable player this year. Now Lamar's going to win it, and I'm not going to make a stink about it because I think they're both fantastic, Well,
Lamar deserves it, man. I mean, he's
regular season award.
Yeah, exactly. It was voted on 2 weeks ago. But the thing about the Bills in the postseason is like, dude, they are so balanced. And that's kind of what I saw the most out of this game, right? Like how good they are. just offensively, it's like they don't have like a stud wide receiver. Okay. They don't have a stud running back. They don't have Derrick Henry, but Joe Brady does such a good job of just understanding what they have offensively, using it and playing like just such a balanced form of offense. And it works really well at their defense, which is also balanced. They're just a solid, really good team. Let's not forget, dude, Buffalo's a really tough place to play, especially like in those elements with Bills Mafia and shit like that. Like, to me, this is like quintessential playoff football. It comes out to one play. How many times do you see that during the regular season? I feel like we always see these stats where it's like, so many games were decided by one score, and that's heightened in the playoffs, and that's exactly what we got here. And it's fucking awesome. Like, you gotta love it.
Gotta love it. I just hate the fact that that somebody's life has to change in a bad way because of this. And
you said it earlier though, Chris. Like, to me, like when I watch tape now of myself, I'm like, oh shit, I was actually like, I had some good reps, because the only ones that stick out are the times you get fucking rolled off the ball, or you miss a sack, or
you miss an opportunity,
jump off sides, or exactly. You miss getting a sack and it turns into a big play for the other team. That's the shit that sticks out in your career. And I feel for Mark Andrews, man, because like he actually had a great game. He had what did he have, like 60 or 70 yards receiving? Like, he played really well, and obviously had a couple critical errors, but like he's
wide open on a lot of those balls though.
5 catches, 7 targets, 61 yards.
I mean, like, as the down went on, and that's the thing, like McDermott blitzed a good bit. Like, as the down went on, sometimes if you couldn't get to Lamar, there were just voids. And so, like, the passing game was good, but again, there were a handful of plays that I thought Lamar was electric. He just didn't make enough of them. And that's the reality. It's the reality. Mark Andrews doesn't get to escape reality. The reality of this game is the quarterback bears some of the blame too, and there's going to be a narrative. And although I disagree with it that he's like some choke artist, or he's not actually a great player, he hasn't taken that next step. He's won a couple playoff games. I can remember when we were like, that guy's never won a playoff game. We're talking about not other guys, but I'm talking about other guys in the NFL, like QBs. The whole thing for a lot of guys is he's never won a playoff game. This guy's won playoff games, won a couple now, but you got to win the big ones now. And he's still young enough that I think he's got a lot of runway left to do it. But it was disappointing.
I don't think he doesn't deserve. Lamar Jackson does not deserve that narrative though, because dude, he's the best player on the field in that game. Or
you're saying that
for his team.
I mean, but this is what it turns into. Like, if I rebut a hyperbolic statement, then I'm like a hater. I'm not.
All I'm trying to say is that you can't say that, like, he can't win in key games.
I agree with you. I agree with you, but he hasn't.
Yes.
And so, like, there doesn't need to be any sensationalism about it. The problem I have is we turn on TV and somebody's screaming about him being a choke artist, or he's not a good player, or he's not elite. He's all those things, except for choke artist. And I also don't like the people doing mental gymnastics to not treat him the way you would treat any other quarterback. Mm-hmm. Because, man, I've seen some people in the media just murder Josh in the past, and, and he's been playing really well in the playoffs all the while. His only crime was losing a 60-60 fucking ball game. I was there on edibles watching at Arrowhead. It was the greatest game of all time.
Yeah.
Like, there's no shame in losing that game.
The reason why I was upset was I want to see the new overtime rule and us potentially getting a freaking 100 to 100 game, because it goes back and forth.
Yeah.
Like,
you want to see all the anytime touchdown bets hit. You made a good point yesterday.
Yeah, like, because they have the new rules where you get a chance. So, like, if teams just keep going back and forth and scoring, I just feel like it would be nice to make Vegas sweat and have half the country hit their parlays because of the new overtime rules.
It'd be hilarious. No, Vegas, I didn't think about that. Vegas does not like overtime.
No way.
It's not like overtime.
Overtime is the best thing that can happen to you when you have a basketball parlay.
Yeah.
Best thing ever.
It's the worst thing when you get the under.
Yeah, that's not.
Or the worst is when you bet a team in the second half and they come back, but they don't win the second half because of overtime, And then, so you bet in the second half, not the end of the game.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Real fast for the Ravens fans in the chat, if you want if you want to feel good about next season, the 2018-24 Ravens joined the 1999-2005 Colts as the only other team in the NFL with 80-plus wins over a 7 season span
I don't think it's making me
without
feel
reaching
better.
the Super Bowl.
I don't think
without reaching the Super Bowl.
those teams.
The Colts
Yeah.
won the Super Bowl in their 8th year. So the Ravens next year, if you want to join that
Listen,
parallel,
this fucking thing ain't easy. There's one team that gets to go home every year with this thing. It's the most competitive league in American sports. You never know what can happen, as evidenced by Saturday night, as evidenced by so many of these games. There's no cakewalk through the playoffs. And just for having been drafted by the Baltimore Ravens, you know, and yeah, the stats I read earlier don't exactly support this point, but you have to beat those quarterbacks. And as you can see, it's not just about gaudy numbers, it's about winning games.
Mm-hmm.
It's about making the plays when they count and not making the plays that kill you. And the Ravens have not done a good job of that, man. I don't know if it's coaching, I don't know if it's something in the building, I don't know what, but I'll tell you this, as a parting shot to Ravens fans, I know I give you a lot of shit for, you know, sometimes not knowing when to just be like, okay, Chris, maybe that's a good point. We'll see this weekend. Instead of just writing me off as a hater. I fucking love that quarterback. And I think he is a model human being and a teammate and a leader. And, you know, like if I had like 5 guys that my kids could watch and emulate, not that they could emulate Lamar physically, but I would say emulate the guy.
Yeah.
And that's the best compliment I can give a guy. Okay, what happens on the field? It's a really hard game. You're not going to win every year. You're not going to be that team every year, bro. So,
Waylon comes out in the football game with a shiesty and a grill in and be like, Dad,
Hey.
you said emulate.
hey, if you work as hard as Lamar and you stand up for your teammates, if you want to have a shiesty and a grill, that's fine. But my point is, Lamar is a football player, man.
He is.
When the way he talked at the podium after the game, to me, would make me want to come back and play harder.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel for Mark Andrews and I feel for Lamar, he's had to be through a lot, man.
That's what I was saying.
You talk about the narratives, bro. Like, oh, he's no good. He's not really a quarterback. He wins MVP maybe 3 times now.
Yeah.
Now it's going to be, you know, he didn't run enough last year. He ran too much before that. Then this year it's, you know, it's going to be he can't win the big one. And so, you know, tough shit. Until you do, that's going to be, you can't control people talking.
Yeah.
Including us.
Yeah.
Right.
But I'd love to see him do it at some point. And so for Ravens fans, you got a very valuable you have a very valuable, what's the word, asset.
No doubt.
The most valuable asset, some might say.
According to the people that vote on the award, probably.
Gotta
Yeah.
take a step back, take a few deep breaths. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt for the next few months, but you guys will be back. You guys will be back to the playoffs, and we'll have this argument again very soon. But it's definitely gonna hurt for Raven fans. I just know it.
It's already hurting for Ravens fans.
Yeah.
Because they talk so much shit.
But also, too, like you said, just the what ifs. Like,
I was a moron last year when I fucking picked against them in the AFC Championship. I was a hater this year. I mean, just fuck, dude. Anyways.
Before we hit the next game, BetMGM. That's what Greenlight is presented by.
BetMGM has made betting easy and seamless all season long. This weekend, BetMGM is giving you the chance to win up to $250,000 in bonus bets. Wow. It's all part of BetMGM's longest touchdown jackpot, where you can win a split of the grand prize with anybody else who bet on the longest touchdown of the week. It's easy to get started. Log into your BetMGM account and opt into the promo. Then place an anytime touchdown wager of $10 or more on the player of your choice. One player is eligible per game. If your player scores the longest touchdown of the week, you'll win a share of the $250,000. Be sure to take advantage of this offer, and remember, use bonus code GREENLIGHT when you sign up to get a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Happy hunting. Okay.
Happy
and
hunting.
you believe only
That
400?
was a great ad read.
Only
Thank
400
you.
people.
Thank you, Beau.
Only 400 people won this past weekend.
including social
wow.
media manager Aiden.
Wow.
$600 bonus bet on his Saquon Barkley
Wouldn't
longest
you-
bet.
Go.
Wouldn't you think more than 400 people pick Saquon Barkley
That's why
for
it's very important to
anytime
opt
touchdown?
in. You got to opt into that promo.
I just want to remind you of something, and maybe BetMGM can do something about this, but I almost feel like this bet should count. I tried to place it before the Commanders game, and it was doing the refresh thing right into the kickoff. It's a little late on my part, but it was Gibbs 2 touchdowns and Commanders money line.
Oof.
And it paid out over 10-1.
Yeah.
And so BetMGM maybe. I have the screenshot here.
Vouch. He was talking about it.
I was so pissed.
Maybe.
And I put a sizable amount of money on it. This was, luckily we had the points too, but geez.
Saturday was a good night.
Okay, yeah, it was. Yeah, Matt got drunk, and I found out that Tanner is colorblind.
Yeah, red green colorblind. Yeah.
Yo, he
I
said,
can't believe it.
yo, here's what he said. He said they have these glasses. He's never seen purple.
Yeah.
He's never seen purple.
Which is funny because he went to a school with purple as the main color.
So you might as well. You think your school's blue and yellow,
Yeah, yeah.
but it's
Rams
not.
colors.
Yeah, I like it.
Dog, there's supposedly some glasses you can get to like
Bro, I
show
just
him the colors for the first
I just
time.
seen a viral videos.
We're gonna do it here.
Some black
Yeah.
dudes are on the porch, and
Yeah.
he hands him the glasses, and he's like, he's never seen red,
Yeah.
and he's just like is bugging out looking at a car. He's just like,
Bro, would you take boomers and then put the glasses on? for the first time?
I don't know. That might be too much.
Yeah, it might
Dude, you'll
be.
be tasting
bro,
these
like
colors.
that's like jumping from the side of the pool to the Olympic high dive. Bro.
When he eats a strawberry, he thinks it's electric brown.
What does Skittles look like to you? Just M&Ms? Just no color?
No, I can see color. Like I can see color. I explained this to Chris though, but like what I found out this year, the best way to describe the way red looks to me is neon brown.
Yeah.
It's like extremely dull. Purple looks exactly like blue. There's almost no difference.
so roses look like they're dying flowers. Then
I guess. I mean, yeah. I guess if you guys saw what I saw, yeah,
So
probably.
if you have blood in your stool, you're just like,
Dude, this is a real problem I've had to like think about because like
How is that the first thing that your mind goes to, Chris?
I don't know.
Wild.
It's red and brown,
I'm
brown,
I've
and it's a
never
medical emergency.
100%.
I'm like, he's never seen the color of
Wait,
flowers,
wait,
fresh
wait.
roses, and you're like, he's never seen blood in his shit.
Honestly, the last thing I was reading before I thought of that was some comment on our chat. I don't want to hear Chris or any of you guys try to deny that Mahomes don't have the refs on their side.
oh my god,
Bro, I got so many numbers for you. You might as well just leave the show.
I was seeing color. earlier.
You're not gonna like the end of the show.
wait, so
I'm not gonna lie.
how do you know if your steaks are cooked the right way or not?
Dude, I just guess.
That's crazy.
That
I just guess. Yeah.
just guess.
Nah, dude, it's a feel thing. It's a vibe thing. Be like this steak's cooked. Feels like it
Feels
should be
cooked.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
feels cooked.
Yeah. That's pretty. I can't wait to put the glasses on you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what's crazy? I
What?
wonder if they have glasses so we can see what he sees.
I want glasses that make me empathize with you and your plight.
Yeah, you guys might kill yourself. I don't know.
No,
Hey, I don't see color today either. I mean, it
Yeah.
is MLK.
No, what a
Uh,
what a zinger. But you really can't use that. I don't see color.
Yeah, I use it all the time. For being
It's
honest.
crazy. Just don't use it today.
No, not today.
you guys are crazy.
Yeah, we got some breaking
Yeah.
news in the chat, boys.
What is it? Ben
Yeah.
Johnson to the Raiders?
The
No,
Where?
Bears.
Bears.
Wow. So he wasn't dead
Oh.
serious about the GM thing.
Yep.
Maybe he was playing the Raiders against the Bears so he'd get more money.
Yeah.
More guac.
Mm.
More Haas avocados.
Guacamole.
Hey, so what we heard initially, we were like, "Oh, Ben Johnson's going to Chicago." Then it felt like Ben Johnson was going to Vegas because of the GM alignment thing and Tom Brady. But maybe this guy was playing them for fools the whole time. Hey, get in here with your little bowl cut and give me a big number,
Yeah.
and I'm going to take it to Virginia McCaskey,
Yeah.
who's older. You know, it's chess for this guy. The only
Virginia
chess
been doing it
game
a long time.
Yeah, she's been doing it a long time. The only chess game he can't win is the one where you don't fucking have the rook throw a fucking a reverse pass in the second half of a playoff game.
Yeah.
God.
All right, so good. This is a good hire.
Yep.
This is a good hire.
Yes.
Can he bring the offensive line with him?
Are they free agents?
I'm pretty interested to see how this works out because, again, I think Caleb Williams is a legit guy. He's not – listen, for him to be Jaden, something crazy is going to have to happen. But I'll still take Caleb Williams. I think Caleb Williams is going to be fine. Now, you lost a year in the process, as we said you would, because the team's not as good as you thought they were coming into this season. And it's, oh, my God, it's like very few quarterbacks just walk on an NFL field and play like the guy in Washington. It just doesn't happen. So you lost a year. But now you probably have hopefully what you think is the right guy. And I'm super interested, man. I don't know.
He's got some offensive weapons to work with, man.
He
I don't
sure
know
does.
who exactly is free agents, but like Swift, good back. Allen has been a pretty good fucking wide receiver in the NFL for a long time. DJ Moore struggled this year, but he's still got a lot.
He's going to get a lot out of DJ Moore because, number one, he's going to get DJ Moore in his best behavior next year because that guy was so miserable this year. So he's going to get DJ Moore in his best behavior. He's going to get DJ Moore in the screen game. You're going to be able to do a lot of things with him, gadget-wise that I don't think people realize. Like, he's very good with the football in his hands. The biggest thing for me is like moving the pocket and getting this guy on the run. Yeah. That's one thing you haven't been able to do with Jared Goff to the degree that you're going to be able to do here in Chicago, which is exciting for him.
Is he responsible for the trick plays and shit?
Yeah, he's the
I don't want to see. I don't want to see that with Caleb.
Dude, no. What are you talking about? That fucking crack toss shovel that they ran.
That was cool.
Fucking sick.
That's
the most animated I've seen Tom Brady on the broadcast.
Yeah, because you couldn't wait to hire the guy. Little did he know.
Yeah.
That was that play was also run by the Steelers in mid 2000s.
He's a thief.
Yeah, well, Anton Randall L, who's on the Lions staff, probably brought it to a meeting and said, "Hey, we've done this." But an issue for Ben Johnson that he's going to have to deal with. Keenan Allen, DJ Moore are combined 1 of 7 for 1 touchdown and 1 interception throwing the ball.
Yeah, you can't. You got to
know what he's going to do.
I'm surprised he took that job.
Yeah,
honestly,
he's got to find some better wide.
Also, I think taking the job speaks to the fact that I'm not putting words in his mouth, but like that maybe he doesn't think Detroit's going to be as good.
Yeah, and
part of that is baked into your self-confidence, which is like, hey, I'm the fucking man, dude. I'm the one turning down Matt Rule, bitch. and you just you're gonna lose both your coordinators. I got a guy who I think is maybe more talented than the guy, and although Jared Goff is very talented, and I'm not taking shots. It's just Caleb's very talented. He's got a lot of raw talent, and I think you can do some exciting things that you couldn't do in Detroit. Now in the beginning, there are some things, very major things that you're not going to be able to do that you could do in Detroit, like run the ball the way they ran the ball. Like getting tackles out in space, like a cheat code like that, like Penei Sewell. Yep. Like having 2 really dynamic backs that are like thunder and lightning. So, anyways, we'll get to that game in a moment, but we promised we'd work backwards.
He's gonna get T. Higgins. That's what he's saying. He's saying, yo, you guys get T. Higgins.
They also have Roma Dunze. How many mouths can you feed?
They're not going to get
spend on the airline.
Higgins.
You know what they need to do? Yeah, they need to go out and get
Rome as a 3.
The biggest hog mollies you can get.
Rome as a 3 is
Trey
perfect.
Smith.
Trey Smith. Is he a free agent?
Line help. Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Did you get some scuttlebutt or something that he doesn't want to be back?
What does that word mean?
I just think
it means like some
priced out.
Some like chatter.
I think he's gonna get. I think he's probably the gonna be the most highly paid free agent interior offensive lineman. I mean, I think there's a couple other guys that are. Kevin Zeitler, Ben Johnson could bring Kevin Zeitler.
Yeah, Zeitler's probably going to be gone.
He's a free agent out of Detroit. That'd be a
Dan
good.
Skipper's also a free agent.
Yeah, you could bring Dan Skipper in to make cameo appearances all year.
Yeah. But anyway, working backwards.
Yeah.
Got to talk about the birds.
Let's talk about the birds. Like, I think to be as succinct as I can, I'll let you go with it, Beau, because you were there too, but I wasn't there. But I think the Eagles defense made plays that won you the game, and you have the luxury of playing that way when you end up in the game scripts that you've been in. And like one of the things is you look at the Eagles' offensive touchdowns this postseason. I could be missing one, but the passing game hasn't really factored into that a great deal. You know, you end up with a muff kick against Green Bay, which kind of defines the game. And, you know, you have the Goddard stiff arm touchdown run, catch and run, which I think was on the heels of an explosive on a crosser. So that was like definitely a part of the deal. And then you have a long Saquon run. And yesterday you have a quarterback run. It's part of a really good drive. And then 2 long Saquon runs. So they haven't had to go to the passing game to the degree that I think we'd all like to see to make us all feel better about the passing game. But we also know what the truth is. The truth is, and this isn't they probably have the best roster remaining, and they probably have the 4th best quarterback. And that's not to say that the guy's not a fucking starting quarterback or he can't win a Super Bowl. It's not what we're saying. But that's the reality you're working with. And this team can, through game script and through execution, and him. Listen, he didn't play poorly yesterday. Jalen didn't play poorly, in my opinion. The safety, you got to hit Goddard. But A.J. Brown dropped a couple balls that, you know, like quite honestly, you got to catch. And I thought the game plan the last couple weeks has not been incredibly aggressive in the pass game. So, like, listen, you come in a game where the D-line can still wreck the game, even though you have a really good offensive line, you're going to rely on some quicker throws.
Yeah.
You know, it's just not a game, these 2 games that they played so far, where you're going to make the quarterback go win the game. And I think that's okay. And I'm not going to do this thing where we get up here and I got to take one side or the other. Here's the side I'm taking. The passing game's okay right now. It's not great, but it hasn't been enough. It hasn't been explosive all year. I mean, it's been explosive at times, but we've won a lot of games, the Eagles have, with the quarterback throwing for under 200 yards. And that's okay. Look around the fucking league right now. How many guys yesterday lit it up for 350? It's not happening. Might happen inside in New Orleans. And that's where you start to worry, right? Might happen next week against this phenom rookie if you play the way you played on defense last game and you give up explosives. But you know what? This guy's been there before and had to win shootouts. He went toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes a couple of years ago, albeit a couple coordinators ago. And really, they have a chance to win that game, and it's not a fucking 2017 game. So if you want me to get on here and cape for Jalen, it's irrelevant what the people that hate the guy think. It's totally fucking irrelevant. Guy's a starting quarterback in the NFL. He gutted through an injury yesterday, and he wins games. If you want him to be Joe Burrow, if you want him to be Patrick Mahomes, if you want him to be Josh Allen, you're going to asphyxiate yourself fucking holding your breath. But that's okay. You can still win a Super Bowl with this guy.
Yep.
That's my take. The burning building that is the
that
passing game, that's my take. It's got to be better, but it doesn't have to be better in that game, and it doesn't have to be better in the game before that. So far, we're fine.
You're in the NFC Championship at home. What is there to be, upset about? And I think the thing that people are frustrated with is like you have Smitty, you have A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown had 2 receptions for 14 yards yesterday. He's going to be opening up a goddamn public library on the sideline if that continues. But I mean, this was a battle in the trenches, dude. Like the way this game unfolded, we had 34 rush attempts from the Eagles, just riding the strength of their offensive line. 21 rush, and part of that is just kind of dictated by the way, the weather was and things like that. But like, there were 12 total sacks in this game. Like, what a fucking battle up front for the Rams defensive line, the Eagles offensive line, and vice versa. I mean, that's what was fun for me to watch. And I was watching the game with Kelce and John Sullivan, who played center for a long time in the NFL for the Vikings, for the Rams.
He's from my area, John Sullivan. He's from up in Connecticut, Greenwich, Connecticut, high school starter, John Sullivan.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
so it was fun to talk to them
a lot of
about
guys
just
from that tri-state area.
The line play, man, because that's what this game was, and I think that's the biggest strength of the Eagles football team. And you said it, dude. They are the best. It's the best roster. It's the most talented roster left in the playoffs. I think I was talking about this with Kels too. It's like, Who from the Commanders starting 22? Who would start for the Eagles? I think 3 guys maybe.
Frankie Louvu would probably
Would he,
start
though?
over Nakobe Dean, possibly, even if he's healthy. And I really like Nakobe Dean.
Jonathan Allen over Milton Williams?
Your number one's not Allen over Milton, but I really love Milton.
Agreed.
You know, that's a great point. There's not a lot of guys there are guys.
Great roster.
There are guys, but I don't want to go through the list and start shitting on
Maybe Zane Gonzalez right now with Jake's struggles.
No, Zane Gonzalez makes me nervous.
Yeah, I agree. But I'm just saying, like, the Eagles are so talented. Like, you got a fucking great win at home. You're playing in the NFC Championship against a division rival at home. Let's not be frustrated with the passing game, even though.
No, you make a really good point, and I hope you're not reading it as. I hope you're not reading it as me being frustrated.
No.
Okay.
I'm talking about
because people in the chat sometimes it's like they're not listening. I just want to make sure you hear me. Do I think Jalen's a top 5 quarterback? Fuck no. But do I think he's a winner? And do I think, ultimately he's good enough to bring a second Super Bowl home to that city? Yeah, because the roster's so damn good. Yeah. And, he also did a really good job. That Saquon touchdown, he checked him into that.
Mm-hmm.
He's seeing they're overloaded to one side. He's got 2 linebackers mugged up in the A and the B. He checks them into it. And, some people are like, oh, no big deal. It's an easy thing. But, he's still running the offense. And I don't think Kellen Moore has been great down the stretch. So, listen, I'm not doing the binary quarterback thing. Just because I think there are better quarterbacks than Jalen Hurts doesn't mean I think I need to see Tanner McKee. Fuck no. Okay, let's just be real in here. You're trying to win a Super Bowl. The guy's good enough to do it, but he's got to play well. And he didn't have to play his best the last 2 weeks. But I'll tell you what, he took care of the football yesterday, other than that one before the half where we got a little lucky somebody fell on that ball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got a little worried on that safety too. And I know you said that he could have gotten the ball out to I think it was
Goddard. Goddard was open
quickly, but like Cam Jurgens got beat over the top on like a fire zone, and the D tackle got just skinny enough and kind of landed, didn't really set back with that post hand when he was sliding out to the B gap. Like I don't really put that on Jalen as much as Jurgen and kind of him just getting his head in there and missing his block.
No question.
Dude, the Eagles were fucking great. But people always are like, oh, you guys only talk about, the Eagles. I was really impressed with the Rams too. Matthew Stafford was fucking slanging that thing, dude. I fucking love him. And I've loved watching Cooper Kupp play. I love Puka. Like, we all know that. I fucking was slobbing him up on that fucking live watch that we did last week. I'm a little scared that we just watched Cooper Kupp's last NFL football game. I'm a little scared that we watched Matthew Stafford's last NFL football game. That scared me because those are 2 very good players, and they were really good.
Well, if Matt Stafford's done, he really went off in the sunset, like just slinging the ball in the snow.
Yeah,
looking like he's
that last drive.
I thought it was
so
curtains
tight
when he hit Nakua, like
Bro,
down to the 21.
Let me tell y'all.
I thought it was done.
Hey, I told y'all this was gonna. I'm not saying y'all, but some of y'all were like, and this is where I get in trouble because if I say something like I'm worried about the game, you're like, oh, well, he's picking against us, or he doesn't think we're going to win the game. No, if it's going to be a 1-possession game late at some point, and it fucking was. It fucking was, and it was for a lot of the game. But you know what happened? The defense made big plays in the second half, and that's the whole thing. This defense wants to be remembered, talked about like one of the best defenses. You could be talked about if they go out.
Bond and Jalen Carter in the second half of this football game were fucking monstrous.
Mm-hmm.
Zach had that series, and this dude, I fucking love Wisconsin guys. He had that series where he had a TFL, then he had a batted pass,
then a fumble recovery. Yep,
that's massive.
Well, let me tell you what Jalen Carter did.
Exactly, please do, because he's a fucking game ball from me. Before anyone else gets to it,
go ahead.
Jalen Carter. Ooh shit, Jalen Carter.
I think Jalen Carter.
Nobody.
I think Jalen Carter has played himself into being on like a short list of best defensive tackles in the league. And honestly, when you take a snapshot of him, there's one guy in Kansas City, right, that you're like, it's kind of untouchable. Mm-hmm. Like it's a legacy thing at this point, and he's still playing that way. But not a lot of guys like him. And, you talk about like the safety and the way the air got sucked out of the stadium and then coming out there, and he's in a 4-eye, which is a really tough thing when the play goes away and you feel all that air kind of like in the run game. Tackle tries to knock his hands down. He recovers and comes out and makes a linebacker type play, dude. Like, we've seen him. He's not just a dominant player. He's a really smart player.
Unbelievably smart.
The trap he called out in the Washington games popped into my head. Like, there's a bunch of instances this year where I'm like, man, that guy just knows ball.
Bro, confusing the center on the slide.
No question.
2 times in a row.
In a row.
Like, in a row, bro. That's like unreal to do. Like as a D lineman to fake a center out 2 plays in a row the same exact way. And he's a pretty unbelievable player. And I said if they make the Super Bowl, long shot odds, I would pick him to win the MVP, because thinking back, Von Miller was like the last D lineman to win an MVP during the Super Bowl, and he had a game with 2.5 sacks. And I feel like Jalen Carter, if he really wants to wreck a game, he can do that. And you can tell that offensive coordinators, their game plan for him.
Did Jalen Carter pick somebody up in like a national championship too?
Oh.
When he picked up Stafford, I was like,
who's not a small guy.
No, but like
you were like, no.
Yeah, I was like, please no. But
throw it down.
Don't do it. Don't. But there was another time, and I feel like it was like when he was in college. I don't know, it's some D tackle. It's in my head of him picking up a damn quarterback just to be like
Jaden Daniels. He did it.
Yeah, he picked up Jaden Daniels. That's the one. He picked him up and put his fucking hand in the air.
Yep. Well,
bro, it's his thing. That's his like.
Boy, throw that photo up there.
That's how he takes your life force.
That's
how he like just totally big dogs you. If he picks you up off the ground, I feel like that from that point on, like he's around. And so like that was huge. I think the fucking Nolan Smith strip sack was huge too. There it is.
Yep.
With his hand in the air.
Wow.
And like I'd like to get 6 in the red zone late. Lane had the penalty. Supposedly the guys on the Rams were barking out they're barking out the cadence. That's what they were complaining about down there. But I'd love to get 6 in the red zone in that situation. But overall, just in a game where the front for the Rams was very disruptive inside, especially they ran some hellacious games where like Mekhi Becton got picked into oblivion, or like
he got smoked on that ET game by Verse.
Smoked,
and that's
dude.
a big.
That's
fucker.
how you make a pick. That's how you pick.
I gotta give Verse credit, man. He was talking all that shit. He
Backed
played
it
a
up.
good game.
He played his ass off.
Backed it up.
He played his ass off.
He had a great year, man. And I understand all the hate. Like I was down there on the field before the game, and everyone was booing the fuck out of him. And I was
he brought that on himself, but he was comfortable.
Brought it on himself. He knew what he was getting into, man. He's from that area. You know what I mean? They had fucking billboards up about it.
Yeah. Speaking of it, go ahead.
But he played well. That's all I'm saying. Like he kind of
played well in each phase of the game.
Saquon on that run, and I fucking love that. Like Saquon's such a good dude.
Down.
But he is a shit talking animal.
But
bro.
the late run, I don't know if this is by design, but Verse folded. He was the edge player. On that back-breaking run, he folded inside, and I think it was an instinct thing because he ended up on Roseboom's like feet, and the Eagles are 3-on-2, and then it's out the gate. So like, some of the mistakes are probably on him. And like, listen, I'd love to go back and watch the one-on-ones, to see how it played out for him, because I think that front's just really good. I think tackles are really good, but he really did play his ass off. That guy's got my respect. I mean, he's hard not to like as a former left end.
And to go in with an attitude like that, I respect that, man. Sorry, go ahead.
Nah, the O-line and D-line both, like, on both sides, like, I felt they played well. And my Bevel Conway this week, there was a sick picture. It's an overshot picture of the Eagles, like, right after the snap for the tush push, and the Rams, like, D-line, and it's like right before they're about to engage.
Yeah.
And in the snow and everything around, it looked absolutely incredible.
That was a beautiful game. The one thing that wasn't pretty though at times was finding Oren Burks. Finding the guy who's in for Nakobe Dean, who, listen, is just not expected to be playing that many snaps. I think McVay was after him early. I think they were after Rodgers a lot especially in the middle of the game, trying to find opportunities to get chunks on him when Quignon went down. But again, Jalen Carter showed up big. Like there was at one point, Robinson ran a Robinson. What the fuck is the guy's name?
Marcus Robinson.
Yeah, ran a corner with Rodgers and just couldn't get to it because of Jalen Carter. There was another one. Cooper Kupp runs a deep comeback, can't get to it because of Jalen Carter. So the run game though was a little bit of a problem. At times, I think the Commanders, who ran for 190 or whatever it was against the Lions, totally different front, will look at some of these opportunities to attack that backer. And we're going to talk about that game in a second. Nolan, we were talking about this.
Chris, I think the Eagles' front seven is a lot more talented.
I just said that.
No.
Yeah, I just said that. I agree. But when you've got one. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'll go ahead.
Say what I was going to say.
But yeah, so
say what I was going to say.
Like Chris was getting at Oren Burks, or touching on those spots where he kind of showed up maybe in a bad way in the run game. The Commanders are going to come out and spread you out, and
that's
they're
exactly
going to have
right.
to stop the run in the light box because you're not going to be able to. You're not going to be able to have C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Cooper DeJean adding into the run fit. So it's going to be a big spot for Oren Burks this week.
That's the worry. If they spread you out and they get these double stacks outside the numbers and they're just playing a numbers game and like you got a light box, one guy fucking his fit up and you talk about quarterback run and a lot of the so for Eagles fans who are like, oh, we're just gonna just know that you might be pissed off at me this week because I'm gonna say it's gonna be a challenge.
Any idea on the weather yet? Is it gonna be snow again or no snow?
I think it said clear.
And I wonder.
Trent Scott. Somebody asked who Trent Scott is. He's a guy who's playing guard in the NFC Championship.
Right guard.
Lined up across from Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis and these motherfuckers.
Frothing at the mouth.
So and he was fine when he got in the game, but Cosme, he's done a good job.
Did you know about that new rule that you cannot use a towel to clean off your kicking space anymore?
That was hilarious.
It's crazy.
Is that a new rule?
They made it seem like it that like now that they kept saying now they're not allowed to use a towel because I guess kickers always have towels, extra towels and stuff to wipe the ball off in your hands, and I guess you can't do any of that stuff anymore.
Dude, I think that's hilarious that people are out there like it's also just like what's the point of that rule?
I guess it can be an advantage. I don't know how. I don't know.
What if you got a guy with huge hands?
That's what I was saying.
Advantage too.
Or
you make
one of those backup
NASCAR pit crew.
You make one of those backup O linemen that are just on field goal, wear like an extra heavy shirt and like a baggy shirt, so you can use it as a
for washing
towel.
Cars. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Like the mop mittens. You know?
Put one of those on, right?
Put one of those on. Wipe off the field.
Yeah,
or Nike needs to make a new glove with just that on there for the old linemen guys, and they just wear that out there for that play.
On this note, shout out Braden Mann on those holds. He had a couple tough snags for him there.
Well, and Jake Elliott, honestly, just hitting a couple of those field goals. I know that was an extra point early.
Yeah,
first one,
which sets a really ominous tone for the game, especially at home. And it's just like people are like, "Here we go again." But he hit those field goals late.
No, but instead of pushing a bet, everyone would have won.
Dude, I think more than anything, it was just about winning the game for most people listening. But I agree. I mean, like the push is tough.
And weather next week, Sunday, it's going to be a high of 39, low of 26, cloudy in Philadelphia.
Okay.
No precipitation.
I thought it was always sunny in Philadelphia.
That's bullshit.
No. Can I read real fast a quote from Darius Slay post game?
Yeah, that's a good quote.
He was asked about facing former teammate Matthew Stafford. It was fun as hell until he started trying me the last two drives. Like, goddamn, Staff. Like, damn, calm the fuck down. Like, shit. I know you've been slinging this motherfucker. Sling that motherfucker somewhere else.
Slay's funny, man.
Sounds like me, dude.
Slay's funny. A lot of profanity.
He funny. Slay played good. He almost had that pick.
Great.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, are we going to get bad Stafford because he was a little bit behind? But I think he had to like adjust his window because somebody has hand up. Because he really did. He almost undercut that route. I mean, that would have changed the whole game.
Credited with 3 pass deflections. I feel like he had 3 more. And the pressure caused a few. Puka had 6 catches, 97 yards on 14 targets, though.
But it's funny because I haven't played for both these teams. Obviously, I'm pulling for the Eagles because, it's just for all the reasons I've mentioned. But part of me does feel like at times where I'm like, man, I did play for that team for a long time. And I got to show them some respect, man. McVay is one of the best coaches in the NFL.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Stafford, to me, is like he's one of my favorite quarterbacks because it's just something about his journey and, the way people wrote him off and, the whole thing. And I think now, 5-7 years later, we're like, oh, he's one of the best in the game. And he showed why that was yesterday. He said, hey, it's going to be cold. The weather's going to – I had some people tell me the Eagles are going to blow them out. The weather's going to play into our hands. It felt like the weather played into the Rams' hands in the passing game because they had a guy that could pass through it. And, I think Nakua, man, he's so fun. We were just marveling at him blocking and just the effort he plays with. They have they're hard to kill. Like the Rams are just hard to kill. I got a lot of respect for that program that Sean McVay's built. And obviously the front's a lot of fun, man. So if you're a Rams fan, I think there's good times ahead watching this 4-man rush. The question is going to be how much longer can Stafford go?
I'm scared that was his last game, and Cooper Kupp too, man. I don't know what it is. I just get the feeling that he's going to hang it up. I don't know.
With all that looming, like with the team, this is probably the worst flight of the year just for them going back. And more importantly, like all those guys right now, football is probably a big escape for what was going on in that area. So, like, the fact that you're on that flight and it's like, damn, the season's over.
Yeah.
And now, like,
back to reality.
I got to have to kind of, like, focus and have all this stuff that's been going on.
Yeah.
More in my face now that I'm not focused on football in the playoffs. So,
if it is Stafford's last season, if he does hang it up after, in this offseason, do you think McVay also hangs it up? He goes and takes a TV gig.
No,
that he was playing with?
I don't think so, man. That to me was like a weird, like, and you heard him talk about it in retrospect. He was kind of like it was mental, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like the game's too good with McVay in it, man.
And I feel like the last couple seasons since that happened, since he flirted with the gig in the box, he's reinvigorated his, he seemed reinvigorated,
sure.
back into it. They were 1-4 at the beginning of the season. Everyone was like, trade everybody. You should have taken that TV job.
And I want to give a tip of the cap to Giff Smith, who's the D-line coach for the Rams, and actually reached out to me before the game. I'd never met him. I had nominated him for Football Guy.
Yep.
And I think he was just checking to see if I'd be around for the game and that sort of thing. But like him making that connection with me, that meant a lot. Hey, reaching out, you're a former player, would love to have you around, and it was just cool.
Really cool.
And I think for Giff, I just wanted to say, like, just an amazing job of coaching 4 young guys like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were one of the most feared 4-man rush units in the league. They're going to have more time to learn to rush together.
Mm-hmm.
When I watched them at the beginning of the season, I was like, man, somebody's coaching their ass off. And I didn't know really, who Giff was to a degree that I do now. And I just think he did a great job with this group this year, as did Shula. I mean, Shula down the stretch, giving them a fighting chance. You got to remember, we were there's so many moments for the Rams over the last couple of years where we'd be like, sell the parts, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like we were kind of on that train this year. They were playing in a game at some point this year where we're like, if they lose, they sell the parts, right?
Yeah.
And they're here.
They flirted with the grill back there.
Yeah, there was all the.
They were almost on the grill.
They were about to get rid of Cooper.
Yeah.
So, Najib Carter said, Chris, why have you never nominated Slay as a football guy? Holy shit! You want to name the other 50 guys on the Eagles, Najib? Like what? I'm sorry.
You have to do it this way.
Why have you never watched the show? Because if you watched the show, you'd know what the criteria was for a football guy.
Criteria.
You don't watch the show.
Najib's been.
Why do you never watch the CW at 8-9 Central on Friday nights? You got better things to do? I don't watch it. I just record it, and my kids watch it. And I walk in, I'm like, don't watch this shit. I'm not that good at this. Seriously. All right, what's next?
Saturday night, the game that y'all were here for, watching, Commanders Lions.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Can I give out an STL memorial for this game?
Please.
Cliff Kingsbury, man. I talked about it last week when I was in Charlottesville with you guys. Ben Johnson, obviously the belle of the ball, but just Cliff, like, he should get some head coaching interviews. I'm sure he likely will. Like, he can't get interviewed now because they're in the NFC Championship, but 3 for 4 on fourth downs, 481 total yards, 0 sacks, 0 turnovers, 34 minutes of total possession. That's great. What a fucking game from him.
He got the sauce out in Thailand.
What,
He went to Thailand, got the sauce, came back.
what kind of sauce?
I don't know.
You got that Thai peanut sauce, baby.
You gotta ask him.
What does that mean?
When he got fired from the.
No, I know.
Yeah,
He's going to chat GPT me. He's like, in 2023, Cliff Kingsbury was fired and went to Thailand. I'm trying to figure out what the fuck he's talking about with the sauce. He got the sauce out. What does that mean?
No, he got the sauce from there. Like he got his sauce back. Like
Oh,
like
he got
when
the
Ryder
sauce back.
like a writer's block.
Like a swagger bag.
Yeah, he ain't have no sauce. You get fired, you go away.
But you said he got the sauce out, so I was trying to figure out what that meant.
You brought it back.
If I said he got the sauce out in Thailand, what would you say? You'd be like, no, my God.
Pause.
Why you always say stuff like that? But he released all the sauce,
Yep.
and he came back stateside. He was just a different guy.
He's back.
No, but he does have his sauce back. This is big, Beau. Really good synopsis. I don't want to step on your award, so if you want to keep going.
Real fast, Kevin in the chat said fax, no printer.
Fax, no printer. You need a T-shirt that says no printer. But, we were saying halfway through this year, like, they figured him out. I guess it's hard to figure somebody out when you got the fucking next Joe Montana back there. I don't even know who to compare him to. I'm not really making a Joe Montana comparison.
Like a cooler, better, more healthy RG3.
I like that you threw cooler in there.
Yeah, he definitely is.
That's hate.
He's cool.
That is a little hate.
Bro, that's
That is
hate,
hate.
from both of y'all.
It is
Yes,
a little
that's
hate. But
It's hate. It was meant to be hate.
it's hate.
Okay.
But
I'm just talking about football. I'm trying to compare him to somebody. It's like there's no comp for this guy, dude. He's so wiry.
He's cool as a cucumber, bro.
He's so cool
like,
back there.
He's so cool. He's like unfazed. I don't know. He's smart. Like
We were
he makes
talking
me
about
wanna-
it. They had
I
that
wanna-
touchdown drive, cut to him on the sideline, and he
Yeah, just
chilling
chilling.
though. But he looks like happy as fuck. He's not like over there. Like,
All right,
Yeah.
can everybody in the chat agree? I want you to say it with me at home. Say it with me at home. Jaden Daniels is elite. Just say it out loud. Just get it out of the way and say it, because, like, you're not going to like the show if you think he's not elite. Like, the way I looked at Saturday night is there are 4 truly elite quarterbacks in the NFL, and I'm talking about, like, the 4 guys that you would draft first. I'm not talking about year-to-year production, but who are you drafting first in the NFL? Some order of Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, Joe Burrow. Okay, there have been a number of guys who have been fighting for different reasons, making bids, not out loud, but to be the thumb on that hand. Mm-hmm. Whether it's Jared Goff with his amazing regular season this year, he played great. His body of work. Whether it's people swearing Justin Herbert is already elite, like, or some other quarterback who's the flavor of the month, and maybe Jaden is the flavor of the month, but I fucking doubt it. I'm gonna say after that Saturday game, you slide him right in there. He's the thumb.
I have one argument.
He's the Tetris piece. What's your argument, Beau?
My argument for you is this.
Play devil. Devil needs no advocate here, but go ahead.
I agree with you. I'd like to start the statement by saying, by saying, I agree with you. I think he's elite. However, his body of work is just, obviously as a rookie, it's not there. If you're this time last year, everyone's sitting at home saying, CJ Stroud, is he?
No, he was at home at this time last year.
Okay. A week ago, last year, almost this time last year, you'd be everyone was saying the same thing.
We
about
said he'd
CJ
be
Stroud.
elite in the future.
He regressed this year a little bit, CJ Stroud. I think Jaden Daniels is fucking elite. I would love to see him play this way for fucking 15 years.
Would you,
know what I
though?
mean?
Because that would
I
be
hope he
bad for
does.
the Eagles.
Yeah. Don't say that.
Well, I would like to see him play very well and lose to the Eagles twice a year for 15 years. How about that? Is that better?
No, that's exactly it. It's
I'm
like
just
as an
I'm
analyst.
just saying his body of work. Like
No one's
like,
saying
yeah,
body
he
of
has
work.
played elite all year.
No one's saying body of work. I mean, there's
fucking sick.
there's some projection work being done when you put him in there with those guys, right? But there is no comp. Like, I'm sorry. I loved watching CJ Stroud last year. This guy's better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Like-
every guy you
That
mentioned
deep
is
ball to
making
Brown.
50 mil a year.
God, that got me wet.
And we're not going to go out and talk about like going into the season, the Commanders win total 6.5, unless all you jumped on the over and told me they were going to be in the playoffs. Don't tell me that like that he hasn't done a lot with a, not a little, but a medium amount of talent around him.
Mm-hmm.
Like I hear people every week tell me Terry McLaurin's not a number one. I hear people tell me Zach Ertz hadn't run an
Facts.
outbreaking
That's facts.
route all season.
Terry McLaurin's a 1A.
I hear people telling me, you know, the offensive line's okay. De'Ami Brown, he's coming along, but he's not like who's Olamide Zaccheaus. Like, am I forgetting? Oh, Bates, the tight end.
John
He's
Bates.
doing a lot with a good, solid set of guys and a coordinator who went to Thailand. Like, no one saw this coming.
No.
So then we can't, at the end of the season, be like, well, pump your brakes. She's just a rookie. Bro, I've never seen anything
I
like
hope he
this.
stays healthy, man. I'm just worried about it that he's.
And then you add the quarterback run to it. That's another thing with CJ Stroud, who's mobile as fuck, but I would compare Stroud more to like Burrow mobility. That's who he reminds me of.
I mean, he had 16 carries in this game, man. That's a heavy workworkload for a.
None of the
slighter
blitzes
frame, you know?
that were sent to him resulted in a
Now,
negative
Detroit sucks on defense.
Yeah.
When Amik Robertson went down in this game, you were like, oh man, they're going to have to score 40 points to win this game.
Didn't he break the fuck out of his arm? Did you see that, by the way?
Yeah, he broke the fuck out of
that
it.
was my
He
anti.
broke the fuck out of his arm.
That was my
All right,
anti-bevel. Like when they showed that that close up, and
Jesus
if you
Christ.
know, you know, that arm was broken, and just walking off, seeing his emotion, walking off the field, kind of knowing like, damn, whether we win or lose this game, like I'm fucking done, is a bad. It was a bad.
I just if you're in the chat and you have a quarterback, and you don't have to tell anybody, you can just do this privately, but you just go into a dark room and ask yourself a question: would I take that quarterback in Washington over my team's quarterback?
Yeah.
The list of people who say no should be like you fit them on one hand.
Mm-hmm.
And even in that category with some projection, this guy might be just as good as some of them.
Yeah.
And he might end up being better.
And it's the multiple instances of clutch performance that I think makes the body of work argument kind of falls flat.
He won games in so many different ways. this
Late in the
year.
game.
Now Detroit sucks on defense. They had too many injuries. They got no pass rush. Got it. The Tampa Bay Bucks, they fumbled that game away. They blew the game. All their close wins, and I'm building an argument for somebody who would say he's not elite. Stevenson's taking a nap. He's jacking off in the corner of the end zone. It's a Hail Mary. He's mugging up the crowd. So that's a mistake on them. You know, you talk about a lot of their other close wins. You know, they barely beat the Saints. That's not like exactly like a hallmark victory. You know, you barely beat the Giants, I think, early in the season, but they won a lot of close games. Mm-hmm. And in a lot of those games, the other team made the mistakes. I get all that. Watch the tape. Just watch the tape. If you watch the tape and you know what you're looking at, this guy's fucking really good. Yeah. He's going to be good for a long time. And so when you look at this game, I really do think Detroit was on a razor's edge away from this being like a nightmare matchup. And Amik Robertson's injury was the thing that put it over the line for me. It's like, because then you got to rely on Vildor, and it's just not the same. And to beat the Detroit Lions, we said this all year, this is why it's not just Jaden, but the quarterback run factors into this. They ran for 198 yards or 190 yards or whatever it was, just short of 200. So to beat the Lions, you got to be the Lions. And I thought in that respect, they said, hey, let's do it. And the other thing we said was, and I said this last week, The keys to the victory for the Commanders were, number one, on defense, you have to come with early down pressure. You have to come with early down pressure early in the game and steal a punt. They did it on the first possession. They edge pressure, force a punt on an early down. Force 3rd and long, force a punt. Then you have to get a red zone stop, at least one, and force some turnovers. They forced 5 turnovers, and the Dorrance Armstrong turnover, the strip sack, is one of those plays that if they go to the Super Bowl, that's like an enormous play in Commanders lore, which is like a book this long. But like page 3 is Dorrance Armstrong strip sacking Jared Goff, because if that game goes 14-3, even as good as this kid is, I don't know if they win.
Yeah, it's a chokehold they have on.
It's a lot like the Bills game. It was almost a mirror image in some ways, with the Detroit's offense not playing as efficiently. It felt more stressful for them than playing Josh Allen and the Bills. That's how crazy that was. You know, like in the second half, it felt like they were under more stress playing the Commanders than they were against the Bills. And then the other thing that mattered was the 12 men on the field that, you know, 4th down, it turns into 38-28, and then the very next possession, Jameson Williams throws that pick. So, like, they made a litany of mistakes, but, like, let's keep it a bean here, dude. This guy's a fucking problem. He's a problem.
Yep.
And he's going to be a problem in the NFC East for a long time. And it pains me that I have to get up here for the duration of my podcasting career, likely, because I don't plan on doing this till I'm fucking 60. And that's how long I think he'll play. That this motherfucker is going to have me having to be like, yeah, I think you might not win this week. And everybody's going to kill me once or twice a year.
Yeah.
Be like, you know, like I got to pick the Commanders.
Worst seat, though, the real worst seat.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones seeing Dan Quinn and Kellen Moore about to be in the NFC Championship.
Oh. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
He is going to be like,
Or Bears fans
what
watching
the
this game.
hell?
There's a lot of people watching this game.
If you're a Cowboys or a Giants fan, you're just absolutely just sick to your stomach. That just like you're saying now, it's just the fact that seeing this game and seeing the future of these teams, and the fact that, like, damn, we might be seeing this years on years back to back. And then on top of it, a guy that you had, not saying that you guys were gonna, but just seeing Saquon having the season that he's having.
Bro, does anybody in the fucking NBA, when there's a fantastic rookie, say, I gotta wait till next year?
No, we hyped them up before we've ever even gotten them into the league.
Darko Milicic.
No, I mean, but he never had the year. We're talking about a year, like, this is a year that, like, you could argue,
Greatest rookie season ever.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I totally understand, like, pumping the brakes till next year, but, like, man, this is a hell of a time to do it after the best rookie season ever from a quarterback.
It's just,
like, well, I'm gonna need to.
but you know what's going to happen is, like, you know, this is how things happen. It's all
The game's gonna catch up to the offense.
No, but it's all in real time. His season right now, and the fact that it's not over yet. Like, whether they win this next game or they make it to the Super Bowl, like, when everyone at the end of the season goes back and really dissects what he did and put it, like, in a bubble, people are going to be like, wait, maybe this was the best rookie season ever. Like, because you put into a factor too in the middle of the season that he potentially had broken ribs playing quarterback, and he still was being able to take his team to where they're at. And it's just,
I'm not saying he's going to be Mahomes or win 5 championships.
No,
what I'm
talking
saying
about
is,
this year.
what I'm saying is, we got another one of them.
yeah.
There's another one of those guys.
This is amazing.
And he's
league.
here now.
This
It's
is
great for the league.
It's
good
amazing
for the
for a
league.
league.
Yeah, it's awesome for the league.
They dropped in the right place. Shout out, best seat. Shout out to Magic Johnson and just the Commanders organization as a whole. They have a franchise quarterback that is going to change everything for them. And for a franchise that's been bad for however long, I feel like it's a feel good story for them for sure.
Yeah. I mean, people love to just, for the sake of playing devil's advocate, play devil's advocate.
Oh,
and I
yeah.
feel like this is
I love to do that.
where we don't. Yeah, I know, but, like, you know, if people don't like the take, which is just simply this kid's gonna be very good, they're gonna call it, they're gonna call it deriding or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest. And everybody in the bar Saturday
Dude,
night.
I'm fighting with this
glazing,
guy in the chat
glazing.
right now because
It's
he's telling us to get off of our knees and stop blowing.
You get off your knees. Go watch another podcast.
You know why I
an
like it
Eagles
too?
fan.
You know why I like it
Huh?
too? Because
That's an Eagles fan in denial.
Yeah, well, I don't
Bro.
care if he's an Eagles fan. If you don't like the fact that the kid's really good,
Yeah, you
then
have to
get
accept
bent or watch tape.
I told you
Yeah.
the reason.
Bro, we're
also-
football
accept
players
also-
that get excited about good football players.
Exactly.
But that you got to realize we do
What?
this for a living. So anytime there's somebody that excites you, like enough to be like, holy shit, that's exciting to come in and talk about this kid. Like it's fun to watch the guy play.
And
Yeah.
also, this makes the reason why it's exciting to me is that we're in the DMV area, and the fact that like real longtime Commanders / the R Word fans, they are excited. And like I said, I went to my diner that I go to locally over. I seen an 80-year-old woman with a brand new official Jaden Daniels jersey on, and that just makes me feel good in the sense that, damn, like football really has fans. You have really diehard fans that realistically they're waiting for their team to have a chance to win a Super Bowl.
And we would move on and say it's just the Lions, but I saw him do this against the Eagles. And they forced 5 turnovers. And what was it, 5?
Yeah, I think it was 5.
5 fucking turnovers. They still lost the game. Now they made mistakes in that game to give them the game a little bit, but it ain't like this kid hasn't beaten good players.
Yeah.
This kid can play. So the problem is now he's going to be playing next week at the Link, and I don't know if the Eagles fans would have rather gone to Detroit. All I'm hearing about is how shitty Detroit is. Would you have rather gone to Detroit? You know, they just beat that team that everybody's like, I don't really want to go to Detroit. And now revisionist history is the worst team in the world. The defense sucked down the stretch. And I just want to say this to close out the Detroit thing. The window ain't closed for them. You can't just close a window, just because they're going to lose, their coordinators. Give Dan a chance to replace these guys. Brad Holmes has done a terrific job. From a personnel standpoint, they're still a very good roster. I just thought they weren't quite ready to play. And whether that's the fact that they're coming off a bye and they've been so used to being like knife at their throat all year long that like they almost have to be that way. Like they gamble best when they're chasing.
Yeah.
Suddenly you get a week off and a little bit of that like that adrenaline kind of dies down, a little bit of that like we got to go to work the next day. And I think also it's just the game script. Talk about the turnover early, the punt early. This is what happened to Detroit when they played good quarterbacks late in the season, and we're talking about great quarterbacks. That's another thing. Like, yeah, Josh Allen did this to them, but I haven't seen too many. Like, Brock Purdy and them moved the ball right down the field, but I didn't come out of that San Francisco game being like, holy shit, Brock Purdy, pay him now.
Right.
Tape exists. You can watch it. NFL has it on their website now. Like, you can just be a regular Joe and go watch tape. Try it. This guy's fucking scary.
Are you worried if you're the Lions, a Jared Goff without Ben Johnson?
Yes. I think there's always an adjustment period, but they do have the run game to build off of. They're going to have to replace him with somebody who's really good at play action pass concepts. Like that to me, maybe you bring somebody from LA. Like who's the next branch of that tree? I don't know.
I think the good thing though is like
You probably
really good job.
promote somebody from within.
Yeah, like they've done a really good job of building a culture.
Yeah.
Pretty quickly, and I think that's if you're a Lions fan, like that gives you a lot of hope. You have Dan Campbell still. You have kind of the straw that stirs the drink, as my boy C Long likes to say. So
You got to stir the drink with the straw.
One last thing, if I may. Shout out Zach Ertz, man.
Oh yeah.
Revenge
Gotta
game.
have it situations, third downs. I would trust that guy with my life in a gotta have it third down.
Fourth
It's
and
incredible. Oh my gosh.
Zach Ertz revenge game. It was awesome.
He's awesome. And so as we look ahead to next week, like, listen, do I think the Eagles are better as you laid it out, Beau? Go down the list of how many. That was a great way to put it. How many guys are you drafting?
I got to give
or
credit to
taking?
Kelce. That was Kelsey's little thought.
That's big of you.
Thought tool right there. Yeah, I'd love to take credit for that. But
So print the headline. Kelce thinks the Commanders are kind of cheeks. But I think it just speaks.
Kelce was speaking more to the strength of the Eagles.
I know. I'm just joking. But the whole point is, like, they're the better team. You know, they got every opportunity. But like, what I'm not gonna do here is lie and say the Eagles have a better quarterback. And to be honest, I've been pretty impressed with Dan Quinn there, and the way he's gotten his defense to play, and also in the playoffs. You talk about like what he did to us in that first half of that Super Bowl in New England. It was like he came out and that defense punched us in the mouth. We didn't even know which way was up, you know, and that threw the game script. Now, luckily, we had Tom Brady, who's one of them guys, and you know we were able to dig out of that hole. But it kind of felt like
Tom's as good as Jaden Daniels, though.
Well, obviously not.
Right.
I just want some people's heads to explode in the chat. No, but the point is, Dan Quinn he's done a really good job of getting teams ready to play early in games in the playoffs. You know, and again in the first half of this game, 300 yards of offense. That's not his offense, but that team's ready to play. And so I do worry about, you know, coming to Philly. Or, you know, the Burks cameo is a bit of a concern for the reasons we laid it out, where they do spread the formation out. You got to stop the run with the light box. They're really good at playing the numbers game. You worry about third down, getting them off the field. We saw late in that second game some really dead to rights instances with really good players having Jaden, you know, hemmed up and can't get him off the field. That's something you worry about. And honestly, I think that the defense for the Commanders is playing as well as they've played in some spots. So it's going to be a good football game. If you're expecting a cakewalk, you're not going to like listening to this show this week because I'm not going to paint it as a cakewalk. It's going to be a good football game. And you got to realize it's the playoffs. So you talk about like playoffs. You know you're a better team, but the Commanders and the Eagles, we've been in this situation in 2017 where we were underdogs, right, because of a quarterback getting hurt or whatnot, and we weren't favored in any of the games going down the line. That's empowering. Mm-hmm. It really does feel good to be the underdog in the playoffs.
And they're rolling, man. Like, they got a lot of juice behind their guy. You know, they have a lot of momentum coming in this game. Division opponent at their place. You've played there before. It's going to be – I think this is going to be a really physical game.
It's going to be a physical ball game. Physical ball game. Can't wait. We're going to be there.
Fucking people up.
Luvu just – yeah.
Are you going out there?
No, I'm just – Beau.
Oh,
Beau's giving me shit because I don't go to the games.
Are you
2 weeks in a row? Maybe. I don't know.
I mean, it's not 2 weeks in a row. You got a bye week.
I got a bye.
You got a bye week.
I feel rested.
Pack a cigarette. Go over to lot.
I feel rested.
Get some reps in. Pump.
So, anyways, here we go. The game. You guys think you're mad hearing that Jaden Daniels is good? Wait until you hear our takes on this thing. Well, I don't know about our.
Are we talking Chiefs?
Give us these numbers, Aaron Brockovich.
Well,
can I say something real quick before you rant for a moment? Because
sure.
I can feel you gearing up for one, and I'm excited for it. Like, I'm swelling.
You don't have to apologize for making a point. Go ahead.
I just want to say, dude, going to Arrowhead as a fan was incredible for me. I played there week 2, I think, 2017, Chris. They beat us.
Yeah. It didn't feel like a big game, though.
No, it didn't. But this game, dude, just like the whole thing, the atmosphere is cold out. Arrowhead is a fucking awesome stadium, man. Like, everything involved with it, like all the fans, tailgating. It's like got the open dome, that open atmosphere. It was an awesome playoff experience, dude. To go there just as a fan and watch that, not be on the field, that was a really cool thing for me, man. It was a great place to watch a game.
That dude in the chat says, "Chris, get off your knees."
Yeah, I was like Twitter fingering him.
He's a Houston Texans fan. He's upset. I get it. Tell your mother get off her knees.
Hey, Chris, you had a sack in that week 2 game in 2017.
I know. Alex Smith was the quarterback. This is pre.
Bro, I probably had like 2 assisted tackles. Let's fucking go.
You had 1 total tackle. One solo.
That was a fucking
tackle.
Okay. I
One
was a
solo.
dog on field goal, though. I was a fucking beast, bro.
Oh, you also had a QB hit there, Beau.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Now, listen, if you're a Texans fan and you're mad about this, And I should be mad. I picked the Texans to go to the Super Bowl on a whim this August. This team had all the makings of being like one of the hottest teams in the NFL. The roster's great, the whole thing. It started with the offensive line regression for me, their inability to make adjustments at the half, which is one of the reasons I was surprised by Bobby Slowick coming out with the drive of the year in the second half of this game. That was an incredible drive. Yep. That's a window into what they can look like. I think they got a dude, right? You know, like as we talk about quarterbacks, we love C.J. Stroud. At least I do. I think inevitably as the rush got to be more and more of a problem, more free runners in this game and down the line in the season, it just became too much to overcome. But I will tell you, if you're a Texans fan, and I know you don't want to hear this, your quarterback played, I don't want to say big, but he toughed it out. Like they mix in him, the defense at times, and the red zone. You talk about going on the road to play the Chiefs, and the Chiefs, a guy I've never heard of, running the ball back for 80 yards and
Remigio.
Yeah, Remigio.
Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Sure.
And then you have a dumb penalty on top of that, which, by the way, the guy wasn't pushing his coach. He was, again, excited. He was excited. That's how guys communicate in the NFL sometimes.
Fly on the wall for that one, though.
But
coach looked so offended.
But here's the deal. Overall, I thought that team showed a lot of fight, and you're in it at the end of the game with a chance to win it. I thought the 4th and 10 call was terrible. Why, in the middle of a run of blitzes that went like 7 dropbacks in a row, and I saw something like 10 of 18 of his throws in the second half, they brought extra rushers. Why, when you haven't been able to put that fire out, do you rush up to the line on 4th down? And first off, why are you going on 4th and 10? If there's one thing I have faith in this game, it's Houston's defense, right? You know, considering the short fields and that sort of thing, they have kept the points down to this point. You should kick the ball, try to punt and pin, but the special teams have been terrible, and maybe that's part of it. Punt and pin, man up. I don't know why they're in zone a lot of the game. Like, I felt like man was a good way to be here. And hope you get a short field and a fresh set of downs, man, with a chance to go in there and tie the ball game. Overall, I thought the Texans showed a lot of toughness, and honestly, they could have played a lot worse. Now, we're going to talk about the officials. I want to get this thing out of the way. I did not like the roughing the passer call. Naturally, I did this for a living. But also as a rusher, I knew as the play happened in real time that they might throw a flag. Now, we look back at the replay, and he did not touch him in the helmet. Head and neck area maybe, which they can argue is a call, but it's not forcible, right? But Mahomes sold it. He is a salesman. I'll give you that for sure. It's not a good call by the letter of the law. Now, some Chiefs fans will tell you it's a good call. But when a rusher's watching the game and sees that happen in real time and says, he might have got him. I turned to my wife and said, oh, shoot, I think that's coming back, or they're going to get the first down. It's a bang-bang play. I didn't see evidence in that moment that they were throwing the game for the Chiefs. Like, that to me is an unfortunate bad call. And it leads to points, right? Now, late in the game, and you're going to kill me, I thought it was a penalty on the slide. By the letter of the law, forcible contact with an elbow or a helmet doesn't mean I like sliding late, doesn't mean I like the way the rules are right now, doesn't mean I don't think it's incredibly hard to defend Patrick Mahomes and fucked up, like borderline unfair, considering the fact that he can be out there pump faking people, tiptoeing on the sideline. You saw him sell one, and they didn't throw a flag on that play. Doesn't mean I don't like it. Doesn't mean I like it. I thought that was a penalty. I thought you could make an argument that was a penalty. Now, on a macro level, I don't even need to argue with you. Like, I really don't. I mean, the numbers tell otherwise. Like, it's actually pretty glaring. This is from The Athletic. Now, all of you are going to stop listening now. I had a guy send me a screenshot of the penalties in this game. By the way, I'm going to pick the Bills this week. I think the Bills are beating the Chiefs. Before you say I'm going to slurp the Chiefs, I got the Bills winning this fucking game. How about that? Right now, right here, I got the Bills winning this game. But I'm going to tell you what being fair and balanced is all about. No Fox News. This is what it's about. Okay? From The Athletic, NFL officials have amassed 47 penalties against the Chiefs in the fourth quarter and overtimes of one-score games over the past 2 seasons, including playoffs. Those same officials have assessed 48 penalties against the Chiefs' opponents in those same critical situations. The yardage totals are similarly close, 307 yards against the Chiefs, 340 against opponents. I don't need to do the homework. It's right here. I got another one. I watched this video last week. Let me just, because I can see the chat going off. I'm not looking. Okay? Since 2018, this is when Patrick Mahomes took over as quarterback. The Chiefs have been assessed 800-plus more yards and penalties than their opponents. They have been called for 196 holds.
That's just their tackle. That dude. That
Okay, he has 140 of them.
Yeah,
okay.
It's all Jawan Taylor.
over 4,000 dropbacks, 30 roughing the passer penalties, 4,000 dropbacks. 3rd and 10 or longer and 4th and 5 or longer this season. Chiefs have 2 penalties in their favor, 15th in the NFL. Second half penalties in one-score games. No team has had more flags thrown against them than the Kansas City Chiefs. Unless the guy that I saw putting these stats together is just gaslighting me and lying. And you can go out and see if these check out. I mean, you're arguing with feelings, not facts. Well, and I don't like the feelings thing, because I got feelings too.
Here's the thing.
Here's what I think. Here's my feelings. Y'all hate the Chiefs a lot more than I like the Chiefs. Y'all are the ones emotional, talking about all they get is the calls when the numbers say otherwise. So after a game, when I got fans screenshotting and saying to me, "Hey, look at this. They had 8 penalties for 96 yards or whatever. The Chiefs had half of them." Numbers back it up, Chris. I'm like, oh, well, let's ignore the macro statistical information and just cherry pick this one game and be like, just see, look what happened. What do you think the conversation was after the Carl Cheffers debacle? Whether it was the phantom roughing the passer on Tom Brady years back in primetime, or Chris Jones screaming at an official, which leads to a penalty and nobody knows what he said and the Colts win the game, or last year, that Kadarius Toney character is offsides, and all these fans all of a sudden are like they're experts on alignment and assignment in the NFL and the frequency with which a penalty gets like called in these situations. Y'all are arguing with feelings. I don't need to argue with people who are arguing with feelings. I'm going to lay out the numbers and then tell you that in every NFL game, a bad call is made. Go back. Otherwise, we wouldn't hear all this complaining about officiating every fucking game. They also play in more primetime games than anybody, so you see them. Mm-hmm. And so I really do think, like, while those calls were fucked up, the one call was fucked up. The second call, you put yourself in that position. I don't care if it's unfair or not. Another thing about the Will Anderson thing is, and Jeff Schwartz made this point, and I think he made a really good point, as a former player, Will Anderson after the game, who I love, was like, hey, we knew we'd be playing against the officials and the Chiefs.
So if you
know, then lower your strike zone and don't make it close. Because we talk about all the time, don't put yourself in the position for them to pull a flag out of it.
So that's annoying to say that, because if you knew, then you adjust your rush, you adjust the way you tackle. Like, you maybe don't try to go for a big hit, you just go for the sure like sack and call it a day. But it's one of those things too that I feel like quarterbacks, they all need to adapt. And whether you think it's, I don't know if it's pride or you feel like it's Bush League to do certain things, but to sell calls is part of the game now. And Patrick Mahomes is the best one to do it.
Josh Allen flops as much as anybody.
Absolutely. He absolutely
Seriously,
does. But
I was just about to say
but it's something that helps your team potentially win. You maybe not get the call all the time, but hey, if you're upset that it's happening, then I feel like all quarterbacks in any situation that's muddy, that they should maybe flop a little bit and you put it on the refs to give you the call or not. Like, especially out of bounds play. There was a play with Lamar Jackson. I feel like if he would have maybe reacted a little bit, he would have probably got a call that was clearly a hit out of bounds. But it's
as a defender, I don't love any of those calls on the sideline. And listen, does Mahomes get like Star treatment? Yeah, but he ain't the only one.
No, he's not.
And the numbers don't back up them getting all the. If you have an argument to make, please. If you have an argument to make other than listen to these guys glazing the Chiefs, stop dick riding. That just tells me that's red flag. Guy doesn't have any brain cells, or he's not an analytical thinker. Give me an actual argument. Don't give me some, anecdotal bullshit like, well, the one time I saw this. That's not the way facts are worked out. Like, you have to, like, if you have a serious claim, like the Chiefs get a bunch of calls, yeah, the Chiefs get a bunch of calls. You know who else gets a bunch of calls? Every other fucking team in the league. And just because you saw their game in primetime and you really want them to lose, and this is where I'm different than you, because I'm not a fan anymore. I was a fan when I was a kid. I played professional football for 11 years. Now I analyze it for a living. I'm not saying I'm better than you for that. I wish I could be a fan. But you operate with a certain amount of emotion that I don't have to. And so, like, the Chiefs don't hurt my feelings. I like greatness. They've been great. The Bills are going to beat them this week. They're not my favorite team. You know who my favorite teams are? These guys will tell you who I actually love. It ain't the Chiefs. It's the Buffalo Bills and the Eagles.
Yep.
Not in that order, but, like, as far as teams that I kind of fanboy about.
Yep.
And guess what? I'm going to love watching Jaden Daniels play.
I was just about to say, and now a Commanders fan.
Not a Commanders fan, but I'm a fan of that kid.
Guys, we're going to get that trip to the stadium, guys. It's going to happen.
Not going.
They got to build a new stadium. I just want to keep twisting the knife. You can't get to me. Hey, you're out there in the comments. Hey, listen, this is a fun argument. This isn't like a big fuck you, but, like, nothing you're saying. I'm watching the chat. I'm seeing it in the peripheral. I don't care. The numbers are the numbers. This is one of those things that there are arguments where I feel strained because I feel like I have to win them. I don't have to win this argument.
Yeah.
It really isn't even an argument. You can argue one call in a vacuum and be like, hey, they benefited from that call. Absolutely did. But it happens every game.
I think the point about all the primetime games the Chiefs play was great because it's the availability heuristic where because people see them, like they don't see all the bad calls that happen in the Saints-Raiders game, like in the Titans-Giants games. They happen in every game. They're awful calls every single week.
Somebody said it's timely flag calls, not just fourth quarter calls, Chris. Well, do me a favor and put together a study on that and get back to me because right now what we have is data on the fourth quarter. And I just mentioned 3rd and 10 plus and 4th and 5, but not timely like that, like a different kind of timely. At some point, people that are conspiracy theorists, and this is the problem with conspiracy theories, is you don't have to prove your work.
No.
And the Venn diagram between people that are saying the Chiefs get given every fucking game they ever won and people that think that the game is fixed is probably a fucking circle. Because I can tell you neither thing's true. I played in the NFL. There are people that think it's played in a hangar. You sound a little like those people. Now, you could say in this particular game, I hated those calls. But when you start saying things like they always, and this is why, then you're just being emotional. So I just want you to know that. Like, I'm not saying you're dumb. I'm just saying your emotions are getting the best of you.
Chris, I'm shocked that you have done this whole speech without once doing the voice, the patented voice.
No, because I don't want to belittle people over this.
I want you to, though.
I've been I grew up with the Chiefs winning. Oh, I can't take it anymore. I just have to. And I'm not saying like, listen, we all had teams we hated. The Chiefs just, I've never hated the Chiefs because they weren't. I wasn't growing up watching the Chiefs win. They're not like the Cowboys when I was growing up. Mm-hmm. When I played, it was the Patriots. And guess what? I didn't even hate the Patriots because they beat the Seahawks in the Super Bowl, and I couldn't wait to see the Seahawks lose. They were division rivals. And on top of that, I just appreciate greatness. So, like, does that make me like a man with no loyalty or something? Because I'm not, I'm not going to get behind hating a fucking franchise that wins all the time. Sorry, does it make me a front runner? No. I got the Bills this weekend.
Well, STL Memorial from this game. Our guy, he's been a little quiet this season, but Travis Kelce, 7 catches for 117 yards and a TD.
He was fantastic.
It was awesome.
He plays possum.
That's what I think. That's what I feel like. And they just turn it on at just the right time.
Well, I think part of it is they know how long a season is.
Yep, absolutely.
I'm not saying they're trying not to look great. I mean, they still look like they could lose to the Texans, which is not good.
It's not good.
You know, like that's going to bite them in the ass if they play, you know, a team like the Bills next week, I think, which is part of the reason I like the Bills. You know, not to mention the fact that I think they're going to have a hard time covering tight ends and
Andy's got
getting Josh off the field.
Andy's got a plan. They got a plan.
I think the most important plan is Spags' plan.
Yeah.
I think that's the most important plan.
3-piece for Karlaftis. Send him a hat, cowboy.
Well, send fucking Bobby Slowick a hat that says "Don't block tight end. Don't block defensive ends with tight ends."
Seriously,
that's crazy.
No kidding.
Yikes,
that was crazy.
I
got a big thing that this game that I don't think you mentioned yet, Chris. I kind of you went on for a while there. Special teams was a big difference maker in this game for me. You know, like you saw the opening kickoff return, brought it all the way down. I think they ended up on like the 20 or something like that. Had a short field, and then there was a block kick at the end of the game in a critical moment, and then 2 other missed kicks for the Texans. So that's a huge difference maker in the playoffs.
Fumblerooski.
Also, I got a worse seat. That is my ass freezing my ass off. I'm a tough guy. Okay, I grew up in Minnesota. I was so fucking cold when I was down there on that field before the game. It was
self-proclaimed tough guy, huh?
Yes.
You had the butt cheeks put away at that point.
Didn't you see me benching and while smoking a cigarette? Like, if that's not a tough guy move, facts, I don't know what is.
So, I mean, it's unfortunate that we couldn't talk about things like, hey, Spags bringing pressure in the key moments of the game, like just saving it up. And it felt like the minute they knew it was crunch time, the floodgates opened, the free runners came back, just the gamesmanship. I think again, like for the Texans, a great effort going there, but they're not perfect. The moment was too big for them a couple weeks ago when they played them. The moment was too big for them in a situation like this. And
they need to shore up the O-line.
Special teams was terrible.
O-line
E for effort
was exposed by Spags.
Yeah, no, it was. I mean, I feel like it's been exposed. It's just wide open.
Yeah.
But
they ran the ball pretty well. I mean, to me, it was just pass pro, like a lot of it.
Well, they ran the ball. Joe
Mixon had a good game, man, for real.
Joe Mixon played his ass off.
What is Kansas City?
I thought CJ was really tough too. Like he got hurt early. He was tough all day. Just the O line for me is the biggest difference.
Yeah. What is Kansas City? What are their tackles going to do?
The tackles are probably not as nervous as they would be usually because they're playing the Bills, who are not thought of to be like. I don't.
Vaughn, you don't respect Vaughn. You don't.
Is that what I just said?
No.
Is the chat in the room?
Bro, I hear you.
Is that what I said?
No.
Okay. I said when you look at it's not like you're playing the damn. I'm trying to think of like the Chargers or something.
The Texans edge rushers are a lot better
than the Texans edge rushers. Yeah. They Vaughn's still got some juice. I like Rousseau, but this isn't like a game where they can't block him up.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly,
Neil Hunter and Will Anderson win one-on-ones consistently. Like, I think the tackles will be okay.
I want to see Ed Oliver get after the backup. Like that to me is, how does Sean McDermott attack? Was it Caliendo?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Ed Oliver, Daquan Jones is really good, and then you got Mr. Canadian Goose himself.
Yeah, Phillips. And they all reset the line of scrimmage yesterday. But I mean, like in passing situations, are you going to bring some pressure? I think the biggest matchup, because the Bills have an ability to put this game in a place where the Chiefs are uncomfortable. Like the Bills have a chance to score and get out in front. And in that scenario, I feel like the script favors them because I do think they're going to be able to run the ball good enough. And I think they're going to be really hard to get off the field. Mm-hmm.
It's going to be down with the ball in his hands, like quarterback design runs and critical moments that I think will be a huge factor in this game.
No question. So I'm sorry for the people that think like we were going to sit here and be like, Chiefs don't deserve it. The whole thing, like, fuck, man. They were probably going to beat this Texans team. I don't think they needed that call, but it is one that didn't go the Texans' way. Now, the Texans had plenty of chances late in the game to get back in it. And honestly, if the Texans won this game, we'd all be sitting here like, fuck, we had Texans in the AFC Championship. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, I told you I'd eat my hat, remember?
Yeah, you don't want to be eating a hat.
I had the blender ready for a little bit.
Definitely not that hat.
Unplugged it, thankfully.
God loves garage beer.
Not this.
He's like a fucking billboard. Jesus.
This is the jacket they made for Flu Talk. We got a green light patch on here somewhere. Where is it? Yeah, there you go.
JoJo says Josh Allen chokes when it's important. JoJo, you must be also an emotional person.
Missed the game yesterday.
You also must have missed all the games that he's played in the playoffs.
Yeah.
When is he choked, JoJo? In the playoffs? Get back to me. Get back to me with a data set on some key calls in the fourth quarter. Not all. The similar data set.
Before we move on, I want to give one more shout out to this game. I saw a lot of toughness out of the Chiefs. A lot of toughness out of the Chiefs on the sideline, too. Brittany Mahomes gave birth like 3 days ago and was out there supporting her boy, Patrick Mahomes, on the sideline. I thought that was incredible.
Oh, that's huge.
Brittany Mahomes there.
That's huge.
In frigid weather, too. You know?
That's big.
Kind of love to see that.
That's big. Big day today, too, you know? So there's a lot going on.
Some people look for any excuse to not go to football games, you know?
Yeah.
Like, just some people out there are just soft, like don't want to go to attend like these awesome games, but then others just give birth and then are there on the sidelines.
Well, Beau, I've had a lot of sex. If you haven't noticed, I got 3 kids. So one of these days, you know, you'll be a family man, and you'd be too tired to go to these fucking games. I was happy as could be. I was on the couch with Dr. Fax, listening to his takes, bro. It's like it's the best seat. Best seat, me. I get to sit with Dr. Fax and watch playoff games. It's fucking awesome.
I
looked cold up there in Philly. I don't know if I would have wanted to be there. It was cold.
You would have got to see.
The scene, though, it was beautiful.
You would have got to see Perk
looked so
Jalen,
good.
though.
Hey, listen, whether it was a perk or not,
Whatever it was,
I was really happy to see him after the game, just kind of like having fun.
bro.
Mile.
Rain, sleet,
Mile?
sleet or snow. Eagles trade to go. It's like whatever pill or medicine he was on. It goes to show that he literally just has like rhymes and like inspirational quotes. Just
Yeah, it just passed it through his brain.
Passed it through it, like, and he's just like, and it's like when he said it, he's like, yeah, this is perfect for right here. And just that smile.
Do you think Nick Saban, like at Alabama, he was just like, all right, Jalen, what you got for me today? What's going to be the quote? He just walks by and just rips off something like that.
Oh, it's so funny.
It's so funny.
JoJo, I'm not talking to you anymore.
You made JoJo's week already, bro.
I know. Good for you. You know, don't choke. Don't fuck the week up.
We'll hear a quick rip from Airbnb, and then we'll come back and we'll engage more with the chat.
Yeah, let's do that.
Get ready, Chad.
I'm gonna take a leak while you guys do that.
What's up, Greenlight fans? It's your boy Dr. Fax, and I want to talk to you about Airbnb. Me and the Greenlight crew, a few years ago, we stayed at Airbnb for the Super Bowl in Arizona, and it was absolutely immaculate. It had a huge cactus in the backyard, had a pool, had enough room for everybody, way better than a hotel. And then recently, just purchased a house with my girl, and we found out that we can be hosts. And your house might be worth more than you think, and you can find out at airbnb.com/host.
Hey, Nate,
Alan.
I think you kill it on that ad read.
Appreciate it.
I think you do pretty solidly.
Hopefully I'll get asked to do some more, maybe.
Yeah. And something you did earlier today, we have college football tonight.
Oh.
Who you got? What was the bet you gave out?
Oh, I don't know if everyone's going to like it. I just feel like everyone has just been talking about how there's no way Ohio State can lose this game. So naturally, I put a bet on Notre Dame, but I also put a bet for both teams to score over 20 points. So it was a nice little bet on BetMGM that was both teams to score over 20 with Notre Dame winning money line plus 650. If it wins, it wins. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
I'm Irish. I'm inevitably gonna have to bet the Irish to.
So you probably like my bet. You should just take that.
I might probably take your bet,
Take that bet too.
but it feels like it's just gonna be a cakewalk, doesn't it? I don't know as much about college football as you guys.
I think college is weird in the sense that if it's close and they're tied, Like, bro, like they can go into overtime and do that stupid shootout, and who knows? But
I want Notre Dame to win solely for the fact that Brian Kelly will look like a jackwagon.
Oh, listen, I think it'd be awesome. I think Freeman seems like a great guy.
Great guy.
Obviously, for the historical context, that would be sick.
Yeah.
I mean, like it'd be awesome.
Martin Luther King Day.
And Ryan Day.
I ain't gonna lie though.
I don't dislike Ryan Day, but like Ryan Day's if you're not an Ohio State fan, it's hard for you to look at Ohio State favorably. Now, I do have a friend who's coaching on that team who's doing a great job, James Laurinaitis.
Baller, legend, Minnesota legend.
Just total legend. Total legend. But
if Notre Dame wins, that's the only thing is Marcus Freeman just being all over the TV. I don't really like the way my girl be looking, and she always asks. She's like, "Who's this guy?"
No,
he's like, he's really good looking.
I know,
and I'm just like, yo, every time Notre Dame comes on, you find a way to say.
I made some shit up about him though.
Did you?
I just make some like untrue shit up about him.
I tell
I heard he doesn't have great skin or something like that, like in person.
Every time he comes up, I'm
I just make shit up.
He's got halitosis.
I think
you got to do something like.
Yo, yeah. You hear him?
He's got
I
halitosis.
bring up that I think he has 7 kids. I'm like, he already has 7 kids.
Oh, is that what you do?
Yeah. I'm like,
we go straight for like the bad breath or something like that. Like,
but yeah, if they do win, we're gonna see his face all over for the next few months. So just got to kind of get ready for that.
Somebody said Chris dirty backing for his own wife.
Dirty back. That is definitely dirty backing.
Oh, that's the worst. You're like, man, I know this guy's fucking good looking. They just keep going with the ISOs. I'm looking around. I'm like,
yeah.
Is she looking at the fucking TV right now? What are you doing? But you know what? Above all else, I can't even lie. He seems like a great person.
Great person.
And I really want him to have success. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Like, Notre Dame's fun. They got the lit uniforms. All my drunk Catholic friends are excited when they win. Mm-hmm. You know, it's awesome.
Fighting Irish.
So,
real fast in the chat, Jack613 asked, gave us $2, and they said, should Hunt get more snaps than Pacheco?
Yes.
No.
It's playoff time.
No.
Hunt is ready.
No.
You don't see the way he ran? Pacheco ran.
No.
He didn't run better.
I can't really answer the question. There's just some questions I don't feel like answering. I'm not at the facility.
True.
I don't know what they're thinking.
And that's what I'm saying. I trust Andy.
One guy might be better gap scheme. One guy might be better zone scheme. Like, they're just different variables and different teams that they play.
Pacheco's a fucking dog. Kareem Hunt is really good too, but I think Pacheco's getting that workload.
Pacheco also gives you the explosive possibility where he can just step on fire ants all the way to the fucking end zone.
Unfortunately, we haven't seen that after the injury yet.
No, I know.
So
I know.
Yeah, get him going.
Said,
he's
going
to be huge this week.
I said, I trust Andy Reid. I think Andy Reid knows what he's doing. I think he knows what guys are better in what situations for his offense. So whatever he thinks is right, whatever many snaps, I say just go with it. But
go with it.
I like the energy that Kareem Hunt did play yesterday.
All right, let me ask you this. This is a fun little time to just knock off any remaining questions about the NFL playoffs. But, like, do you feel like is there a Super Bowl that could be a blowout? Ooh. Obviously, the conversation is like if the Commanders go, it's a big if. So they're going to win in Philly. Yeah. Good luck. It's going to be tough.
If the Commanders go, they're going to blow someone out. Absolutely.
You think they're going to blow somebody out?
You know,
clip that.
I'm just saying, like the potential matchups in the Super Bowl are all very different, and very interesting.
I'm sorry, but I know
very different, very.
I know this is an Eagles pod, but I got Commanders -5.5 this weekend.
That's a lot of points. It's a lot of fucking points in a game that quite frankly, we already saw the second version of it, albeit without your really good quarterback in Jalen Hurts. Who was knocked out of the game early. By the way, he's doing a great job of sliding. Seriously, I know you love sliding.
Bro, absolutely.
He was the king of smart plays yesterday.
That's what I said, because I always say that I think it's a little selfish when a quarterback doesn't slide.
I wouldn't put it exactly that way.
If it's not for a first down, that's how I feel. If it's not for a first down.
What if a quarterback doesn't slide and gets dinged? Do you punch him on the sideline? Like, you remember when you were like, Deebo Samuel should have punched Jake Moody.
I know owners want to
Would you punch your quarterback if he didn't slide?
It's just like, yo, Maybe.
Is that a punchable offense?
Maybe it's a grabbable offense. Like, hey, we need you.
What if he's already like kind of concussed and you're shaking his brain around?
You know, that's the one thing I do hate about football is just a lot of times after big tackles for defenders, you might be shaken up, and you know what all your teammates
They headbutt you.
Oh, good
Good
job,
job.
good job,
Oh,
good
yeah.
job.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure.
Not good.
I think we need to end on giving you a shout out. Your back was against the wall. Steve was breathing down your neck in picks, and you turned in a 4-1 week.
Yeah, I did. I
Good
did.
for you.
I
You were a
should've-
half point away from a push.
I was a half point away from a push, and really, man, it would have been better for everybody if it didn't come down to 2-point conversion. Because now I feel
Yep.
terrible for Mark Andrews, and I'm 4-1.
Yep.
But I felt good about that. It was like we were on it.
Talking about backs to the wall.
What was Steve?
Steve went 2-2-1,
Good, 'cause
making
he was
3-2.
He was gonna catch me.
Yeah.
Talking about backs to the wall. My viral moment of the week.
Dynamite segue, whatever this is.
If you guys are ever in a sticky situation and you're stuck in a coffin
You're buried alive.
and you're
Use
buried
your shirt
alive,
to cover your mouth.
I
with
found a
Oh,
great
bro.
focus on
Hey, it was like
We
it
need to
was
give
like,
contact.
bro. It was like a.
try to move the Russian.
It's important that you just in case you're buried alive, you watch this.
working your way up the
I
side.
sent the guys
Look, you
this
just want to
video.
stand up.
Sit up as the dirt falls. Continue to push it into the
Yep, just push it into the coffin,
stand up.
and then you're out.
Pushing the dirt upwards.
You want to wait till the mobsters leave, and then you're just up through the surface.
Oh man.
We got a group text. It's like 3rd and 11 in the fourth quarter of one of those games yesterday with like the season on.
Big
Last
steak.
night, it was-
Huge steak.
It was
last night.
Yeah, it was
Last night.
Bills
Last night.
Ravens.
I'm not gonna lie. I muted the group chat after you sent that fax.
Bro, he put it
was
in like during
this
third
out.
down.
The Super Bowl was occurring.
Oh my god.
Hey guys, time out real quick. I know you're watching the two best quarterbacks this year play, but just in
something-
case you're buried alive, this is what you do.
But it's
Which not even what you
it's
do.
kind of your fault. It's something to do. It's
my
something.
fault?
It's something to do with your Wi-Fi. My algorithm goes crazy in your house. And Tanner said he
Yeah,
got
it's your
the.
house.
Tanner said he's like, yo, I literally watched that video 20 minutes ago right here. It's the
Yeah.
algorithm and the
Something
Wi-Fi.
about your house,
Yeah.
man.
It's something.
Then I got that same video on my algorithm, and I was so fucking annoyed. I muted the chat.
Are you burying people at your house, Chris?
No.
Should I be worried?
No.
Okay.
No.
Anyone from the chat shows up at Chris's house, he's gonna bury him.
The Wi-Fi telling me something.
We show up at my house. That's another story. Show up at my house like some guy's gonna show up at my house like banging on the door like fucking sucking the Chiefs off, huh? I've come to
The Chiefs do get calls.
I'm gonna do a B&E, like that's honestly, it's the Finkel and Einhorn level NFL fan that you worry about. And I feel like a lot of them are conspiracy theorists,
No doubt.
and a lot of them really like hate the Chiefs thing.
Damn, you know what I'm thinking about right now? This is crazy as hell.
They don't like numbers.
How-
Like people don't like the people that don't like numbers and facts really scare me. That's just a personal thing.
What do you think my man that was robbing in the wolf outfit, his Chiefs is back on top. He's probably running it up in jail, betting on the Chiefs.
You think he's just you think he's betting the Chiefs?
That's what he was. He was robbing the bank and using money to bet on the Chiefs.
I know, but he doesn't have any more money now.
You got commissary.
He's just betting his commissary.
But he probably has a room full of
He's probably
snacks.
betting cigarettes, bro.
Yep.
He's probably got a
Snacks,
fucking-
Fly on the
cigarettes,
wall. What's he
and-
doing during games?
And stamps. There's
Do
a lot of currency.
Do you
in
think
jail.
during games that they let him watch the game, or do they change the TV?
It depends on what type of facility and stuff you're in. But like if you can't watch it, you get on radio or it's advanced in jail now. Probably someone, if not, or you probably pay someone probably has a phone and internet to just bring it up on their phone.
You remember Locked Up Raw?
Yeah.
I used to watch Locked Up Raw like every Saturday night on away games. Me and Cliff Ryan, my roommate, shout out to Cliff from Michigan State. We'd watch Locked Up Raw. We would like make an appointment at 10 o'clock whenever we were on the road. And then he'd go to sleep and snore, and I wouldn't sleep the whole night. Professional athletes. And I think KC Wolf with his own like Locked Up Raw season would be like must-see TV. Like, what's he doing now? How does he go through a season? Hard Knocks, Leavenworth.
Chiefsaholic.
Bro, that'd be incredible. Wouldn't it?
I would watch.
you would definitely watch that, bro. You love content. That would be some prime content.
Oh, there's
Marketing.
There's way other people on top of the list before him that are locked up that I would want to follow.
Really?
Ruggs. Is he training?
That just took a dark turn.
I'm just saying he's about to get out.
Is he about to get out?
I think it's like 2 years.
A year or so, but yeah.
But Beau, did you have a drip king for this week?
I had a drip king of the week.
Thanks for bringing up
boys.
Ruggs.
Actually,
The most lighthearted part of the show.
My bad.
anyway, boys, I got a
Fiery
drip king of the week.
crashes and drip king of the week.
Yeah, what a transition.
I'm just fucking with
Soft
you.
transition.
I love you.
Drip king of the week. We got a photo here, Cowboy.
Yep. You sent it. You put it up earlier, Kelce.
Travis Kelce, baby. Look at this fit. Look at this jacket. Fucking, he's got some Timberlands that are pink as well, matching. Very solid fit. Love that jacket, by the way. Then I have a secondary drip king of the week. We got that up. I was a little covetous of this jacket as well. I would have loved to have somehow weaseled this jacket out of Jordan Phillips from the Bills pregame warm-up.
That's like the second
Candidate
time
is
he's done that this year.
Down. He's
Awesome.
Yes, and I don't
that's
fucking
awesome.
blame him, dude. After being at that Chiefs game, man, it is chilly pregame.
If you're
Really use one of those.
there's all those videos of like the players going on the field shirtless and they're like, yo, this is how tough we
Yeah.
are, blah, blah, blah.
Exactly.
You waste so much energy doing that. Do that. Wear the jacket. Put the jacket on under your jersey.
Everyone does that for the gram. You know?
Yeah.
You're not going out there shirtless. You're going out there.
What about
doing that for the gram,
Fitzpatrick?
which I get.
You saying Fitzpatrick did that for the gram?
Hundo P.
Hundo
I respect
P.
that. I love that out of Fitz. Fitz has been a fucking hilarious personality on social media.
He was
this year.
super
I'm
jealous
looking
that you were hanging out with Whitworth or he was jealous that we were hanging out with Beau at the Eagles game. He was like
Fitz is the
upset. He
man.
like quote tweeted me and was like, don't steal Beau. He's one of my best friends. Don't take him.
He said I got legs like a Iowa State fair dairy cow or something like that.
That's a good
I
pull.
haven't seen Fitz in man far too long. I'm excited. He's gonna be out at the Super Bowl. So
Fitz and
You should
Wit
hear what
had
they're
a-
saying about your ass.
what are they saying, Chris? Why don't you tell me?
I don't know. I haven't seen Kelsey's show, so I'm gonna have to be a judge. I gotta
Well, you
go
should
back.
tune in.
I'm going to.
I'll send you that photo privately. Just don't show Meg.
I'm not gonna show Meg. Don't worry, because she's gonna think I'm looking at what is it? BBWs on my phone.
Yeah. BBW. Yeah.
What does that stand for?
Who is this bitch?
What does that stand for? What does that stand
Big
for?
Why is
BBWs.
dude, between me like wearing makeup and getting my hair done for Kelsey's show and that garage commercial we did?
Yeah. Let me go ahead and do this ad read. We'll get out of here.
Tapping into a new fan base.
Thanks to thanks to BetMGM and all you football fans. I want you to picture something. A BBW. No, I'm just joking. Let me start that over. Thanks to BetMGM and all you football fans. I want you to picture something. You bet your favorite player his first touchdown score, but he throws a block to send a teammate into the end zone, and you lost your bet, right?
Wrong.
Jesus. It's like a late read. That's a pick six in the playoffs. With BetMGM's second chance promotion, you'll get your stake back if your first touchdown scorer scores second. Bet on any pro football player to score the first touchdown in the game. If you're right, you win. If your player scores second, you get your stake back in cash. Keep that in mind next time you throw in a first touchdown score bet with BetMGM. Happy hunting.
They calling Beau a pog in the chat.
A POG. That's the other one I was looking for. What does POG stand for?
Either
What's
pretty
that
or
stand
fat
for?
ass
White girl. That's I was looking for POG. I was looking for POG. He's looking at POGs.
Yeah. If they didn't ban P-Hub in Florida, I might go look up and see what that is.
It's because you got one of them. You got one of them right wing leadership groups. They don't want you looking at prawn.
Taking away my porn.
He's gonna hurt people with his prawn. No, it's the best thing he can do is stay home and keep it to himself.
Like that.
Yeah.
All right, that's the show. Hey, I really appreciate y'all. If your team is not playing anymore, it's okay. It's not a big deal. I hope you enjoy the next week's games. Championship Sunday is awesome. Second best weekend in pro football. behind what we just saw.
If your team's not playing, just hate bet. Just bet unders.
Just hate bet, yeah, hate bet.
Just bet unders on guys you don't like, and it might be a double win for you.
But more than anything, I just want to say this: like, if I dog walked you over the Chiefs thing, that's not because I think I'm better than you. I just think I read more than you on this subject, and no, I just read more than you. And I don't dislike you. I think you're awesome. I hope you keep coming to the show. I still love you.
Beau feels like he got
sounded personal.
No, I just get tired of the feelings. Give me some facts. Hey guys.
Max is sitting right next to you, my boy.
No, I got facts. But thank you so much for being here. I love y'all. Take care.
Go Notre Dame. Go Irish.